Postseason baseball on tap for you here tonight from Eldridge Park. Devin Dobeck alongside Wyatt Copeland, excited for round one of the Cape Cod Baseball League playoffs between the Orleans Firebirds and the Harwich Mariners. Wyatt, it's been a fun ride all the way to get to this point. 44 games to get where we are. The Mariners come in as the 3 seed, Orleans with the 2 seed, and wow, it doesn't get much better than this.
It's two teams that have found division momentum at the opposite points of the year. The Harwich Mariners, they won 7 of their first 10. Meanwhile, Orleans took a little bit while. It lost 6 in a row at one point, but then won 15 of its last 27 games. It was very impressively so with the pitching that it was able to find. You have Sean Matson, who arguably was the best reliever for Orleans throughout the regular season. Derek Clark, a left-handed starter that pitched 7 innings the last time the Mariners were here at Eldridge Park. But they don't have to face Derek Clark tonight. They have to face a different pitcher in Grayson Carter out of Vanderbilt, who is looking for a win here tonight and be the most important stage of the Firebirds this season.
Grayson Carter, a flamethrower. He owns the top pitch velocity among CCBL pitchers this season at 99 miles per hour. That's according to TrackMan. He's got some serious gas up his sleeve. Comes into the season 6'5", 250-pound right-hander. Attends Louisville, or native of Louisville. Attends Vanderbilt University, a 1-0 record this season for the Firebirds. Has not surrendered an earned run, making his 9th appearance and 3rd start, 14 1/3 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs, 14 strikeouts to 9 walks. He'll be set to go against this Mariner order for Coach Steve Engler. Let's get right into that. Leading off is the all-star shortstop Ali Camarillo, batting second, the third baseman Kevin Keister, batting third at first base is Ethan Anderson. Batting cleanup, the center fielder Devin Obie, batting fifth, the catcher Brian Arndt, batting sixth, the right fielder Elijah Lambros, batting seventh, the left fielder Cam Leary, batting eighth, the designated hitter Talmadge Lecroy, and batting ninth at second is going to be Daniel Rivera. Underway here at 6:34 with a ball. It's 1-0. Ali Camarillo leading off for the Mariners tonight is awaiting the next pitch, and he grounds it softly over to the shortstop, and Penny scoops on to first, and it's going to be in time. A 6-3 putout for out number 1 here in the first.
And Harwich throughout the regular season hit almost equally against right-handers as left-handers. Harwich hitting 245 versus Southpaws, 246 against right-handers. So it'll be important here to attack this right-hander in Grayson Carter out of Vanderbilt, someone who is starting to find his own development within that program under Tim Corbin as Kevin Keister steps in.
Kevin Keister will dig in. He's been so pivotal in this Mariner lineup since his arrival a few weeks ago as he watches strike one go by at the knees. Keister had that big 3-run home run to knot the game up at 6 with the YD Red Sox last week when they would go on to win 7-6 in a 5-run 8th inning as he cups and misses through that, and it's 0-2. Grayson Carter, the #1 prospect out of Colorado when he graduated high school, as this one's going to be flied out into right field. Going back is Colin Tuft, and he's there to make the catch for out number 2. Let's take a quick minute and meet the Orleans Firebirds defense. They are 8th in the Cape Cod Baseball League with a .965 fielding percentage and 56 errors. In the outfield, Eddie Micheletti Jr. is out in left with Eddie King Jr. in center and Colin Tuft in right. In the infield from third to first, Brandon Stallman's at third with Jack Penny as the shortstop. Joe Oyama's at second with Matt Halbeck at first, and Henry Hunter doing the catching for Carter. First pitch to the third batter in the lineup, Ethan Anderson, is spiked in the dirt to make it 1-0. Anderson, the switch hitter, batting from the left side against the righty and Carter. Into his windup, the pitch, and it's going to just miss 2-0. Beautiful night here at Eldridge Park, right around 75 degrees, partly cloudy, and just perfect baseball weather for game 1 in the postseason. Next pitch to Anderson's cut on and missed on the outside part of the plate, 2-1. Devin Obie on deck for the Mariners, trying to avoid going down 1-2-3 here in the top of the first of game 1. Carter tapping his left foot, now into his windup. Here's the pitch, and it's cut on a miss. That one was in the dirt, but Anderson went fishing, and it's 2-2. Anderson hitting right around the 200 mark this season. His bat has started to get more hot. He's become an RBI machine and an integral part to the Mariner order. And when you add Devin Obie right behind him, who has a team-high 19 RBIs, it's a deadly part of the order to get into. As that one's cut on a miss. He got him on a low off-speed pitch, and the side is retired. The Mariners go in order. We'll be back to meet the Firebirds lineup on the other side. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Harwich Mariners postseason baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We welcome you back into Game 1 of the 2023 Cape Cod Baseball League postseason here in its 100th year. It has been a fun ride to get to this point, and now that we're finally here, it's really just nice to enjoy it and see all the teams kind of compete. We've got some interesting scores around the league. We'll get to those in a moment, but first let's meet Kelly Nicholson's starting lineup for the Orleans Firebirds. Leading off the second baseman, Joe Oyama. Batting second, the designated hitter, Justin Rubin. Batting third, the shortstop, Jack Penny. Batting cleanup at first base is Matt Halbeck. Batting fifth in the left field is Eddie Micheletti Jr. Batting sixth in center field is Eddie King Jr. Batting seventh at third base is Brandon Stallman. Batting eighth behind the plate is Henry Hunter. And nine in right. Well, the Mariners elect to go to Blake Purnell. 6'3", 210-pound right-hander out of Boynton Beach, Florida. Attended St. Thomas Aquinas High School and now the University of Florida. The national runner-up in the College World Series this past season, as his first pitch to Oyama misses for a ball. It's 1-0. And Wyatt, we've seen just how much of a threat Joe Oyama could be in that leadoff spot. His number's tremendous down the board, and we'll see how he can attack Purnell early as it's swinging strike to make it 1-1.
Yeah, this is a leadoff batter that's not going to disappoint, especially in a righty-lefty battle. You seem to have an advantage against Purnell, the sidewinder, 5 for 16 with 3 extra base hits here against Harwich in the regular season.
Here comes the 1-1 offering, and it's going to just miss the outside corner to make it 2-1. This season, Blake Purnell comes in with no record recorded. He also hasn't surrendered an earned run, making his 4th appearance, 3rd start for the M's, 9 1/3 innings, 4 strikeouts to just 1 walk, and 7 hits. Here comes the 2-1 to Oyama, and it's going to be grounded, but no, they're going to say fair, and it goes off the glove of Anderson back into fair territory, and the Firebirds will reach here. Not sure how that will be scored. Take a minute and find that out. It will be an error on Ethan Anderson, who's been so reliable down at first, and Wyatt, that ball certainly looked to be foul from my vantage point, but the Firebirds catch a break, and they got a runner on.
A position he's very used to playing in the defensive alignment this season for Harwich, a 20-23-1. Jeff Kinney, the first base umpire, really got a good look at it that time, and Anderson just caught a little bit off guard there.
It'll be Justin Rubin, the designated hitter's turn to face Purnell. Joe Oyama with plenty of speed over at first, as first pitch is in there for a strike to make it 0-1. We told you we'd get into those scores a little bit, and just to kind of tease you, Bourne is on top of number 1 Katuitt 14-5 as it stands currently, while Brewster's on top of number 1 YD 15-5. I mean, just really nothing you could expect. A couple 9 and 10 run games, as the count is 1-1 to Justin Rubin. But that just tells you everything you need to know. Regular season does not matter come the postseason time, and the 2 4 seeds looking to compete here. Here comes the 1-1 from Blake Purnell, and it just misses inside to make it 2-1. Mariners wearing their road navy uniform, says Harwich across the chest in red with red numbers on the front and back, all trimmed in white. Gray pants, blue stripe on the side with navy socks or stirrups with red and white stripes, as well as the Mariner caps with the H and the compass logo on it. Red brims on those. As that one misses again, so it'll be, or no, it'll be on the upper part of the zone. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes to Rubin. Purnell taking a look at Oyama down at first. And they'll go check on him, keep him honest. He's back in there safely. Joe Oyama, 3rd on the Firebirds with 6 stolen bases this season. He's also been caught 4 times. That's the most on the club. Purnell set for the 2-2 offering, and it's going to be flied in a shallow right field. Long run over for Lambros, and he's there to make the catch for out number 1. We'll take a quick minute and meet the Harwich Mariners defense. They are 4th in the Cape Cod Baseball League with 48 errors and a .969 fielding percentage. Out in the outfield, Cameron Leary out of Boston College is in left with Devin Obie in center, Elijah Lambros in right. Down to the infield, Kevin Keister's at third base, Ali Camarillo's the shortstop with Daniel Rivera at second, Ethan Anderson at first, and Brian Arndt doing the catching for Purnell. Mariners coming off a game in which they commit a pair of errors, trying to iron those out with the postseason, but Anderson's already got 1 on his belt. Oyama down at first for that reason, as it's 1-0 count to Jack Penny. Penny, an all-star for the Firebirds. He's been fantastic at shortstop all season long. native of Wakefield, Massachusetts, just about 20 minutes outside of Boston, as another pickoff attempt unsuccessful down at first. This past season at Notre Dame, Jack Penny hit .241 across his 46 games. Did have 10 homers and 27 RBI, OPS of 800. As here's the pitch, and misses outside, and count moves to 2-0. Purnell having some control problems early on, falling behind in counts, but still plenty of game to get going. Out of the stretch, he comes set at the waist, and the pitch. There goes Oyama. The throw down from Art, spiked in the dirt. The tag in time. They're going to say they got him. Nice pick by Ali Camarillo down at second base. He's able to lay the tag on Oyama, and the Mariners make up for Ethan Anderson's mistake. There's 2 away.
Oyama seemed to have a really good read on it that time with the pitch low from Purnell, but aren't really reactionary that time in order to connect with Camarillo at second. The wind blowing out to right field here. Penny with an opportunity for a hook hit here if he's able to put it that way.
3 balls and no strikes now to Jack Penny. Assume he'll probably take this one, as here's the pitch from Purnell, and it misses inside. A 4-pitch walk issued. And so Matt Hellbeck will come on with 1 away, or rather 2 away and 1 on.
Well, this will be a very different outing for Blake Purnell. He's likely to be relied on for more than just 1 inning, in which he started here at Eldridge Park on Monday night and only gave up the 1 earned run. The RBI hit to Jack Penny to give Orleans its first of 2 leads in that game. The Mariners were walked off, and Purnell has to stay composed out of the stretch here.
First pitch to Halbach is going to be fouled back for strike 1. Tonight's umpiring crew, Chris Engstrand's behind the plate calling the balls and strikes, with Jeff Kinney at first, Mike Hinojosa at second, and Mickey Garcia down at third base. A 4-man umpiring crew here tonight. And makes sense when you think about the postseason. The stakes much higher, and for that, sometimes you need an extra set of eyes. Here comes the 0-1 to Halbach, and it's going to be in there at the knees to make it 0-2, so says Engstrand. Firebirds wearing their black uniforms, the cutoff ones purchased by Marcus Stroman, red undershirts. They have white numbers on the back with a red trim, white pants as well. And it says Orleans on the front, as looks like Matt Halbach is nailed on the head there. There's something, he must carry a magnet in his pocket when he plays Harwich, because the poor guy got hit 3 times in one game against the Mariners early in the season, and this one catches him in the head. He appears to be okay, but walking it off, he'll be checked in by the trainers and Kelly Nicholson as well. So Eddie Micheletti Jr. will dig in now. Micheletti Jr. transferring to Virginia Tech with his final 2 years of eligibility after some fantastic seasons with the George Washington Colonials. First pitch to him misses down low, and it's 1-0. Eddie Micheletti Jr. out in left field tonight for the Firebirds. Comes in hitting .274. Played in 41 of the 44 games for the Firebirds. That's second most on the team, behind Jack Penny. As that pitch evens up the count at 1-1. Eddie King Jr. on deck. Firebirds threatening early here in the ball game in inning number 1. 1-1 pitch is going to be fouled back towards the bat boy, protected by the netting, and it's 1-2. Nice crowd filling in here at Eldridge Park. That hill completely covered off to our right here, Wyatt. And can't imagine a much better night to experience postseason baseball on the Cape, as that one's going to be chopped foul again. And so we stay at 1-2.
This must be a dream for Micheletti Jr. Such to go to Virginia Tech, as you mentioned. His Orleans crowd has been his summer home since the age of 7. He's been coming here for so long now, and it's just been a dream for him to play here. But another lefty hitter in this lineup, if he's able to try and beat the shift here and pull it to the opposite side, that could be critical here for Orleans to score first.
1-2, just misses outside, and it's 2-2. Yeah, Micheletti Jr., you talk a little bit about how he grew up on the Cape, and actually was a surfer for a bit at Nauset Beach, but he remembers riding a wave in Nauset's blood-soaked waters after a shark attacked a seal, and never again hung up the board, and that was the rest of his time surfing, as he'll fly this one foul off to the left and out of play, so the count stays at 2-2. And yeah, I don't know if I'd be able to kind of go in the waters if I was seeing blood like that, especially from a surf standpoint. Not my feng shui, per se. I'll stick to the microphone. Here comes the 2-2, and it's fouled off again. Micheletti Jr. putting together a fantastic at-bat here.
Orleans needs runs early here in this series opener, averaging just under 5.3 per game, right around average in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Meanwhile, you consider Harwich also having to get a lead first as well. A lot more wins when Harwich leads after 5 in its regular season games.
2-2 pitch. It's going to be lined out into right field, going over as Lambros, and makes a diving catch. Elijah Lambros laying out in right field to haul it in and end the inning. It would have been extra bases and runs on the board for the Firebirds, but instead it's out number 3. We remain knotted at 0 heading into inning number 2. No score in game 1. We'll be back on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Middle third of the order, Devin Obie, Brian Arndt, and Elijah Lambros due up for the Mariners, who were bailed out as Elijah Lambros made a diving grab out in right field to end the inning and keep the score 0-0. Grayson Carter's back out there for his second inning of work. Got a 1-2-3 first inning, ending in an Ethan Anderson strikeout. Count is 1-0 to Obie as he fouls off the next pitch, and it's 1-1. We actually got a chance to talk to Terry Obie on the last broadcast with the Brewster Whitecaps falling to the Mariners 3-2, and yeah, just said how thrilling it's been to watch his son excel in an industry that he didn't really get to pursue as much as he would have liked. Definitely went the football route, and yeah, it stinks, but he's living vicariously through his son, and it's been a fantastic journey. 2 balls and a strike to Obie. The next pitch is fouled on a check swing. Obie, frustrated with himself, throws his head to the sky, and it's 2-2. As I mentioned, Obie a team high with RBIs. He's tallied 19 of them. Or rather, 23 RBIs. As that pitch going to be in there, Devin Obie rung up, and that's going to be out number 1 here in the second.
It's a very commanding changeup from the Georgia product, and Carter just able to attack the lower part of the zone where he know Obie might be a little bit hesitant. And Obie needs to get going here in this one. He was 0 for 4 in the 4-3 win against Falmouth, but for the Mariners to get an RBI out of him would be huge here. Instead, it goes over to Brian Arndt, another consistent hitter.
Brian Arndt, the all-star starter for the East, behind the plate. Swings and misses through the first pitch, up and away. It's 0-1. Brian Arndt hitting .255 this season for the Mariners, which is just about 80 points more than he hit last summer, around the 170 mark for the Mariners. So his improvement has been astronomical here as he's quickly behind 0-2 on a foul ball. Arndt's participated in now 30 games for the Mariners out of 45. He's been really awesome to just have in the lineup day in, day out. Power hitting catcher as he grounds this one over to the shortstop. Penny fields on the run over to first in time, being Art by half a step, and that's out number 2 here in the second.
This is just a start that Grayson Carter needs. 4 innings dealt for the Firebirds this year. He was scoreless through 3 1/3 innings. Just actually dealt 4 walks with a season-high 6 strikeouts in a 4-3 win against Chatham. But he hasn't pitched against Harwich, so for his first time against the lineup, he's looking really strong.
Digging in is Elijah Lambros, the right fielder for the Mariners out of Maryland. First pitch is going to miss outside and low, 1-0. Lambros this season hitting .286 for the Mariners, an on-base percentage of .375. As that one's going to be pounded into center field for a base hit. Elijah Lambros making some noise on both offense and defense. He breaks up the 5 straight retired to start the game from Grayson Carter. And there's 1 on with 2 away for Cam Leary.
Mariners really need to be playing with a lead early here. They trailed 1-0 before getting that solo bomb from Camarillo, and Orleans' starting pitching has improved drastically since the second half of the season actually began. A huge way they were able to actually win a ton of games in July, as that's the first base hit for the Mariners.
First pitch is going to shoot out of the glove, but high for a ball, 1-0. Obi struck out, and then Brian Arndt a ground out. Elijah Lambros a single here. As Cam Leary out of Boston College digs in with 1 on, 2 away. Mariners trying to stretch the inning as much as they can. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. And it's going to be in there for a strike. Looked to be a little low. Leary didn't like it, but will have to accept it, and it's 1-1. On deck for the Mariners, a freshly shaven Talmadge LeCroy getting set to go here in the postseason. As here comes the 1-1. No, it's going to be a pickoff attempt. Back into first safely is going to be Lambros. Leary has played only a single-digit number of games for the Mariners this season, but quickly making an impact with his bat. He's been moved all over the lineup, hitting 7th here tonight, as the next pitch is going to be lined through into center field for a base hit. Taking a turn and staying at second is Lambros, and back-to-back hits for the Mariners makes a little commotion here in inning number 2.
Mariners do not want to give away free outs on the base pass. A good hold that time from the third base coach and Mark Tebow. Back-to-back base hits. The Mariners seem to be having something brewing here with 2 outs, and it's what gave them wins at Brewster and even Yarmouth Dennis with that 5-run 8th inning.
Talmadge LeCroy, the designated hitter for the Mariners tonight, has a runner on first with a sizable lead, and Cam Leary down at second is Lambros. First pitch to LeCroy is going to just miss. Might have been a little outside, and it's 1-0. 9-hitter Daniel Rivera on deck. Mariners trying to push something across here with a 2-out rally in the second. Carter comes set at the waist, checking the runners, comes home. And it's going to be in there at the knees for a strike, 1-1. LeCroy out of South Carolina now. This season for the Mariners has found ways to produce up and down the board. As next pitch just misses outside, and it's 2-1. LeCroy hitting .286 across his 8 games. Only has registered 21 at-bats. .464 on-base percentage. That's one of the best on the team in the time he's been here. As that one spiked in the dirt. Really nice stop by Henry Hunter to make sure it didn't get by, and the runners stay put, but the count 3-1 now. Henry Hunter providing some words of encouragement to his starter, and Grayson Carter trying to get out of a jam here in inning number 2. Carter, a deep breath on the mound, comes set, and the pitch is going to be fought off by LeCroy back into the netting, and it's 3-2. LeCroy wants that pitch back in a bad way, but had trouble catching up to the high-velocity guy. As we mentioned, Carter, a guy who pumped 99 on the gun. That's the fastest recorded pitch this season in the Cape Cod Baseball League. He can really bring it. As the runners go, and LeCroy goes around. Strike 3, Carter wins the battle, and we remain scoreless. 2 back-to-back singles with 2 outs, can't help. And the Mariners trot back to the dugout, and we'll have to take the field once more. No score here in Game 1. We'll be back in a flash on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Eddie King Jr. stands in to lead off inning number 2 for the Firebirds. Still no score here from Eldridge Park as the first pitch from Purnell misses inside. It's 1-0. It'll be King Jr., then Stallman and Hunter due up for the Firebirds. They threatened back in inning number 1, but stranded a pair of runners on first and second. Joe Oyama also got caught stealing earlier in the inning, and you got to think he probably would have had a chance to score had he stayed on the base paths, as King takes a strike low, and it's going to be a ball and a strike. Eddie King Jr., a Louisville Cardinal, as he swings through that one right down Broadway, and it's 1-2. Native of Linwood, Illinois, just about 4 hours north of Chicago, or 4 hours north of Louisville. It's a suburb around Chicago. Went to Marian Catholic High School as he grounds this one foul. Eddie King Jr. had that big hit in the 9th inning in the walk-off loss for the Mariners the other night. And a guy who's really struggled against the Mariners this season. I can't imagine where he's at, but a handful of strikeouts, and it seems like the Mariners are able to retire him every time except when he was able to get on board with a double in that 9th inning. As that pitch misses, 2 balls and 2 strikes now to King Jr. Eddie out in center field. He's been fantastic on defense. Next pitch is going to be fought off. An uncomfortable looking swing, but had a purpose. And so staying alive is King. Eddie was the number 2 outfielder and number 8 prospect out of Illinois when he graduated high school. Number 93 registered outfielder in the country, according to Perfect Game. 2-2 is going to be grounded right back towards us. And so we stay there. That one had a label on me, Wyatt. I thought it was coming right for me, but the netting here, I didn't flinch. I'm happy to say I didn't flinch. Devin of a year ago might have. Brandon Stallman on deck. King Jr. trying to start something here for the Mariners, or rather for the Firebirds. As here's the pitch. Swung on a miss. Blake Purnell picks up his first strikeout of the ball game, and it's at the expense of Eddie King Jr. There's one down here in the second.
Purnell had 4 strikeouts to 1 walk entering tonight and didn't even get one in the top of the first, but he needs strikeouts in order to keep this Firebirds lineup quiet, who's been looking for sparks here. Seem to have something going with one away as much as the Mariners did with their back-to-back singles. Towards the bottom of the lineup, the Firebirds looking for a hit here.
So it'll be Brandon Stallman, the third baseman, who watches ball 1 miss low and away. Purnell's definitely been falling behind the hitters, but able to pick up that strikeout there of Eddie King Jr. It's got to be a momentum builder for him. And wow, yeah, these games getting really ugly in a hurry. Brewster on top of YD on the road, 18-5 in game 1. Hyannis on top of Falmouth, 7-2. And Bourne leading Cotuit 14-6. I mean, these are some blowouts, Wyatt. Here comes the 2-0 pitch from Purnell. And it's going to be flied foul over the road. And it'll be 2-1.
Orleans just trying to look to get off to a strong start here. Devin, no second-round appearances since 2018.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming for them, but with all the fan support they've had, and also were voted, not exactly sure the exact description of the award, but Commissioner Zamuda before the game, 1 sec, we'll get into that, as that's going to be grounded on to Rivera. And over to first for out number 2, but Commissioner Zamuda gave them an award for being, I'm not sure, the best presence on and off the field, I think, is how he put it. And Orleans was able to get that award, and got to feel pretty good, especially for, you know, the president of the Firebirds, Bob, and all those who've been trying to get back to postseason play and win around in the last 5 years. See if it carries in a momentum as Henry Hunter digs in. The catcher batting in the 8th spot tonight, watches ball 1 miss outside, and it's 1-0. Hunter transferring to the University of Georgia after 2 seasons with Alabama Birmingham. As that one's going to be fouled off, and so over the road it goes to make the count a ball and a strike. I believe Aiden Moza also went to Alabama Birmingham before transferring to the Crimson Tide, and now Hunter transferring to Georgia. Here comes the 1-1 pitch, And misses low and away, 2-1. Henry Hunter, a guy who's been so great behind the plate defensively. He's gunned down 29 runners stealing in his first 2 seasons of college baseball. 2 balls and a strike to the 6'2", 210-pound left-handed hitter. And he flies that one. That one got a flinch out of me. That one's right between my eyes it was headed, and so it'll be 2-2.
Hunter has really found ways to produce consistently when it's about RBIs for this Firebirds team, Devin. All of them since the end of June.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and yeah, why you like to see that progression going in the right direction for the Orleans bottom of the order, as 2-2 is going to be grounded back to Purnell. He backhands it. And Anderson for out number 3. It's a 1-2-3 second inning for Blake Purnell. Still no score here in Game 1 from Eldridge Park between the Firebirds and the Mariners. We'll be right back in a few moments on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Top of the 3rd inning, Devin Dobeck alongside Wyatt Kopelman along with you here in Game 1. Still no score from Eldridge Park, as it'll be 9-1-2 for the Harwich Mariners, set to get things going. Daniel Rivera, followed by Ali Camarillo and Kevin Keister. Just 2 hits for the Mariners through the first 8 batters, and trying to build on some late offense they had in the last inning. As first pitch is going to miss up high to Rivera for a ball, 1-0. Daniel Rivera has been also an integral part of the Mariners' recent success. He's tied for the team high in doubles with 5, as count's going to be evened up at 1-1 with a foul ball. Transferring out of Southern New Hampshire to Kansas State, he'll be teammates with Kalen Culpepper and Colin Rothermeld out west. As here's the 1-1, and it misses way up high, some gas that time, and it's 2-1. Rivera makes up with speed for what he doesn't have in size. He's got 10 stolen bases this season. I forgot he grabbed 3 of them last game against the Brewster Whitecaps. Just 5'10", 180 as he swings and misses at that one. And so the count will shift to 3-2. Rivera taking a moment to adjust his ankle strap. Now climbs in, getting set for the payoff pitch. Carter into his windup. Here's the pitch. Foul tipped into the mitt. That will be strikeout number 4 for Carter, and he's just 1 time through the lineup. Heading to the top of the order once again, it'll be Camarillo and then Keister.
This is the most important inning here already for Carter. You consider the fact that he needs a win here to try and get Orleans at least 5 scoreless innings, maybe if 1 or 2 runs. But Ali Camarillo coming up, he's due for a hit as the rest are in the top 4 of the lineup. A really nice job settling in with 5 straight retired, but the real journey begins here.
Ali hitting .217 this season. The All-Star has a team high 143 at-bats, as first pitch is going to be fouled back to make it 0-1. He also has a team high 31 hits and 15 RBIs as well to complement that. A .266 on-base percentage. And he is a pest on the base paths. He loves dancing and getting in pitchers' heads as he fouls off another breaking ball, and it's 0-2. Camarillo grounded out to the shortstop and Jack Penny to start the ball game back in inning number 1. Looking for a different fate here in inning number 3. No score between the Firebirds and the Mariners in game 1. The pitch. Misses up high, and it's 1-2. Ali attended Cal State Northridge this past season. Hit around .370 for the club. He'll be set to transfer to Texas A&M to become an Aggie. Really looking forward to seeing him flourish there. 1-2 pitch is cut on a miss. Down he goes. Strikeout number 5 for Grayson Carter. He's been fantastic. And there's 2 down.
He's been able to take hitters deep in counts here. Camarillo was patient with the fastballs that Carter was missing, but his slider's been commanding thus far in addition to that changeup. Now 3 straight strikeouts, really starting to dial in.
Kevin Keister now will dig in. He's flied out to right back in inning number 1. 2 outs as the breaking ball misses low and away for a ball. It's 1-0. Mariners have had just the 2 hits, and they came with 2 outs in the second inning. Maybe they can do something similar here in the third, as it's a strike on the swing to Kevin Keister, and the count's 1-1. This will be the 7th matchup between the 2 clubs after 6 regular season ones, as it's 2-1. Harwich won the first 4 games, and Orleans has taken the last 2, including that 2-1 walk-off win against the Mariners a few nights ago, and before that, a 12-0 one-hit victory. I mean, they really walloped the Mariners, 8 1/3 no-hit innings, and then Devin Obie broke it up, but they went on to win by a dozen runs as the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Keister. Choking up on the bat, here's the pitch, and it misses way up high, 3-2. Ethan Anderson on deck. The switch hitter looking for an opportunity here in inning number 3. Keister once again choking up on the bat, set for the payoff, and it's down in the dirt for a walk. Kevin Keister finds his way aboard, and there's traffic on the base paths for Ethan Anderson.
Firebirds actually entered the postseason with the 3rd fewest strikeouts, and for Carter, he's been able to change the narrative around that, turn the tables here against the Mariners, who are looking to try and get some extra base hits early here and drive in runs. But Ethan Anderson, one of the lone left-handers in this lineup, has just an opportunity. Again, if he can kind of pull it towards the left side or go against the pole for that matter, then the Mariners can have runners on the corners.
Ethan Anderson struck out swinging back in inning number 1. He was the first strikeout victim of Grayson Carter. He's ahead in the count 1-0. Keister down at first base. Not a huge threat to go. He does have speed, but don't see him put in motion too often. We'll see if they elect to change that with 2 away as pickoff attempt. He's back in there safely.
Very early in the game to pinch run Jackson Brinker. Keister was pinch run for a few days ago.
Here comes the 1-0, and it's a big swing and miss. Takes Anderson all the way down to 1 knee. Actually might have got a small piece of that, but it's 1-1. Closing in on 70 degrees here from Eldridge Park. That sun hiding behind the clouds out in right field. Another pickoff attempt is thrown away. Down into second easily is going to be Kevin Keister. He'll take a turn and look at third, but elects to stay there as Oyama fields the ball, and the Mariners capitalize on a big mistake by the Firebirds.
Yeah, that should be an E1. He threw it away, just way away from the first baseman's glove and Hallback.
They did rule it an error on the pitcher in Grayson Carter here, so now an error aside. Anderson digs back in. 1 ball, 1 strike, and the pitch. It's going to be grounded right back to the pitcher in Carter. It looked like it was a liner up the middle, but instead it's out number 3 as he flips over to first. Well, the Mariners get another runner in scoring position, but can't do anything with it. To the bottom of the 3rd we go. Still no score in game 1. Back in a flash on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back here for the home half of the third, Devin Dobeck and Wyatt Kopelman along with you for the journey here at Eldridge Park. In game one, still no score between the Mariners and the Firebirds, as it'll be 9-1-2 for the Firebirds. Still without a hit here through 2 complete innings, and Blake Purnell back out there for his third inning as well. He's had a hit batsman and a walk, but other than that, he's been pretty solid out there for the Mariners. Not your traditional starter. He's typically coming out of the bullpen, but he's done a really nice job for Harwich this season. Here comes the first pitch to Tufton. It's going to be grounded over to the shortstop, Camarillo. A jump throw over to first. Is it in time? No. They're going to say that Anderson might have been off the bag, I think Jeff Kinney was indicating, but it was a great play by Camarillo. Unfortunately, it'll be an infield hit. And so runner is on here with nobody away.
Great effort by Camarillo, just trying to get it away from his body to let the outfield grass, but looked as if the first base umpire, Jeff Kinney, saw it as Anderson losing the ball out of his glove because he tried to scoop it out of the dirt, and the runner was already there.
Joe Oyama now will dig in with a runner on. See how Orleans elects to play this with the lefty here, who's got speed, and first pitch is fouled back towards the press box, and it's 0-1. After Oyama, it'll be Justin Rubin for the Firebirds. Trying to jump out to the first lead of the ball game here in game one. Still no score. The pitch just misses outside, and it's 1-1. Oyama's just been so prolific for Orleans this season. I mean, hitting right around the 360 mark, exactly 360 with a 456 on-base percentage. He's also walked 25 times. I mean, everything you could want as he lifts this one out to left field. Ranging over is Leary, and he's under it to make the catch for out number 1 here in the third. Brings up Justin Rubin now, making his second plate appearance. Flied out to right back in inning number 1. Orleans still with a runner on, and Colin Tuft, not sure how much of a threat he is to go, but was able to leg out that infield single. So definitely boasting some speed. He's actually the team leader in steals with 12. Been caught 3 times. First pitch is going to miss inside to Rubin, and it's 1-0. Definitely expect Colin Tuft to take off at some point very shortly here, especially if Orleans has trouble putting the ball in play. Purnell coming set, drops it from his chest to his waist, and the pitch. Misses inside, 2-0. Orleans clearly has the edge in every offensive category over the Mariners. They've outscored them by 21 runs. They've out-hit them by 43 hits. I mean, up and down the board you go. They just completely sweep the Mariners, who are going to have to really play their best baseball if they want to beat a tough customer in the Firebirds. That one in there for a strike, and it's 2-1. Orleans has won 4 of their last 5 games, coming most recently off a head-scratcher, 14-12 loss to the Chatham Anglers. That one's grounded over to third. The throw on a second in time, over to first, not in time. Wow, what a turn by Kevin Keister to get over to third. On a hot shot down the line, he's able to get the lead runner, Wyatt. That was a highlight reel play by Keister. And now there's 2 away. Not
the fastest moving ground ball either, but it was fast enough to the point where the Mariners only had time to turn 1. I thought Keister initially was looking at first to try and go the long way, instead went the short way to get the leading runner, as there are 2 away here for Purnell. Key out here, a lot of help from the defense.
So Tuft is taken off the base paths, and now there's a runner on first for Jack Penny, who walked back in inning number 1. First pitch is going to just miss inside, 1-0. And yeah, Orleans was able to retake the division after they topped Harwich and YD lost, so Orleans was the first team in first place since YD took it from Harwich way back in June. And unfortunately, they lost in game 44, and in a 44-game season, sometimes you come up just short. And yeah, YD went on to win and take the 1 seed, and that's why these 2 teams squaring off here today. Of course, YD probably wishes they were playing Harwich after getting pounded by Brewster 18-5 right now. Been an interesting end to the season, and now an exciting start to the postseason. All the underdogs come into play here. Here comes the 1-1 pitch, and it's going to be in there on the inside corner for a strike, 1-2. Penny out of Notre Dame. Shortstop has been really smooth defensively for the Firebirds and now trying to make an impact on offense. The pitch is going to be chopped foul, and so we stay there at 1-2. Matt Halbeck on deck for the Firebirds, and he's someone that Blake Purnell definitely does not want to face. Cleanup hitter can do some serious damage here. But first it's Jack Penny, who's on the ropes. The 1-2 is going to be lined into center field for a base hit. Into second standing is going to be Rubin, and it's first and second now for Halbeck.
One of the Firebirds' key position players that's been around since the first week of the season. Penny, a local guy as well, first year with the Firebirds, but it's looked like he's been here for 2 seasons if you have that, and that's a huge tool here to have in the middle of the lineup for Kelly Nicholson, someone who has really progressed well, not only at Orleans, but also at Notre Dame.
Here comes the first pitch, and it's going to be grounded over to the shortstop, Camarillo. Go to second, take the easy one there. And just like that, Blake Purnell out of the jam with 1 pitch. We're through 3 here in game 1. Still no score from Eldridge Park. To the middle innings we go. Back in just a few moments. You're listening to Harwich Mariners postseason baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back here for inning number 4, it'll be Devin Obie, Brian Art, and Elijah Lambros, the middle third of the Harwich order, due up to start the middle innings here. And for play-by-play duties for innings 4 through 6, my broadcast partner and Wyatt Kopelman. Wyatt.
All right, Devin, Harwich and Orleans scoreless in round 1, game 1 here from Eldridge Park. An air capacity crowd at a ballpark that holds 6,000. No seats, however. No balls and a strike here to Devin Obie, the outfielder of Duke. The pitch, cut and a miss on a slider as the count levels up at 1-1. No score here between Harwich and Orleans. 2 hits for the Mariners and none for the Firebirds. Or 2 hits for the Firebirds and 2 for the Mariners. They want to cut and a miss as it's 1-2. So a strikeout here for Devin Obie as he goes down on strikes for the second time here. He struck out looking in the second and strikes that swing here, and it's the 6th strikeout for Grayson Carter out of Georgia. Looking really dialed in here. Brian Art stepping up out of UNC Wilmington.
Yeah, and Obie that time kind of was the victim of a check swing foul that put him behind a strike early in the count and then just couldn't catch back up with the gas of Grayson Carter, who throws so hard.
First offering to Art, a slider at the letters. Looked out for strike number 1. Harwich and Orleans scoreless here in the top of the 4th. The Mariners looking for a win here. The pitch taken down the middle, another slider as it's 0-2 here to Art. Grounded out 6-3 back in the second for a Harwich team that hits right-handers at .245 after the regular season. Grayson Carter working quickly out of the stretch, and the pitch taken low as count moves to 1-2. Floodlights beginning to come on here at Eldridge Park. It's 3:14 down the left and right field lines here. Carter dealing the pitch, and it goes high above the glove of Henry Hunter, the catcher, as it's 2-2. So Harwich getting back-to-back hits to center field back in the second after going down in order in the first, but has not been able to score in the opening 3 frames, as there's one away here with nobody on for Brian Arndt. The 2-strike pitch, and it's sliced to the right side and into the glove of the first baseman and Hallback, as they're quickly 2 up and 2 away here for the right-handed dealing Carter.
I mean, that ball was tattooed. Really good awareness from Hallback to be able to get up and make that catch. I mean, that ball was scorched and tailing. To be able to time that and be in the right location was a huge play, and the Firebirds able to keep the bases clear here.
Strikeout swinging and a line out here for the right-hander Grayson Carter. The first pitch to Elijah Lambros, taken low and outside, just above the shoe tops for ball number 1. Harwich and Orleans scoreless here into the 4th inning. The offering bounced over towards the right side. The first baseman and Hallback flips to a covering Carter, and he's at the bag, and he beats Lambros by just a half step. A 1-2-3 job here for the right-handed starter for Orleans in Grayson Carter. As he looks for his first win on the season, he gets a strikeout, a lineout, and a ground out. And the Harwich Mariners remain scoreless after 3.5 innings as Orleans comes up to bat here in the bottom of the 4th in just a moment on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Harwich and Orleans scoreless after 3.5 innings. Moving into the bottom of the 4th here. Orleans up to bat with Eddie Micheletti Jr., Eddie King Jr., Brandon Stallman against the right-hander out of Florida in Blake Purnell. The wind blowing softly out to right field. The floodlights are on here at Orleans, an overcast evening after sunny skies at first pitch. The first pitch on the way to left-handed hitter is fly to the left side and over towards his right and Leary, and it's too far foul to the left as it's strike number 1 here to Eddie Micheletti Jr. Set to go to Virginia Tech after spending a couple years with George Washington of the Atlantic 10 Conference. Hitting .274 in the season, 22 walks earned, as he has a .374 on-base percentage. Righty-lefty battle here. Purnell working methodically from the first base side of the rubber. The 0-1 home, and it's lofted to the right side and into shallow right field, moving back to second baseman Rivera, and instead he'll leave it for the right fielder in Elijah Lambros of Maryland as there's one away. And you consider that Blake Purnell not allowing a hit through the first 2 innings, Devin, but got into a little bit of trouble in the 3rd, really relying on his defense. That'll be critical going into the middle innings.
And yeah, no, that's something that Harwich is aware of. They've been able to, pitch to contact, but also pick up the strikeouts. And the defense, top 5 in the upper half of the Cape Cod Baseball League, and they're able to, produce and come together. But good start out of Purnell always will help.
One away here, Eddie King Jr. stepping up, and the Louisville outfielder takes it on the outer half for strike number 1. Harwich and Orleans scoreless with 1 down here for Blake Purnell, the starter for Harwich. Meanwhile, King Jr., 13 combined hits to finish the regular season. The pitch backs him off on a fastball inside as it's 1-1. This past season at Louisville, King Jr. excelling with 11 doubles, 2 triples, 5 home runs, got 42 RBIs in his 2nd season with the Cardinals. A ball and a strike here, nobody on, and 1 away. And the 1-1 offering, and it's a slider on the outer corner, but instead, Jeff Kinney says he didn't go around as it's 2-1. King Jr. just about halfway through that time. 6'3", 205, the rising junior out of Linwood, Illinois. looking to give Orleans its 3rd hit of the game here. The 2-1 offering. Bounce over towards the right side. 2 bounces for Camarillo. He steps to his left, fires onto first, and it's in time. 2 away here for Blake Purnell, starting to settle back in after getting a 1-2-3 job in the second.
Yeah, no, this is exactly what you're looking for from Blake. He's a guy who last year was a little shaky. I mean, you take a look at his numbers in Florida and Harwich this past season. At Florida had a 9.28 earned run average, and last summer in Harwich, 4.38 earned run average in his 9 appearances. All in relief that time, so maybe he just likes being a starter and embracing that. He's done a great job here tonight in Game 1, giving his team a chance.
He's given his 3rd start on the year here. First pitch to Brandon Stallman, the left-hander. Watched that in the dirt just in front of the catcher, Arndt, for ball number 1. Grounded out to second, back in the second, as Purnell, looking for his first win here, went only 1 inning in his last start against Orleans back here on Monday night, in which the Mariners lost 2-1 in the 9th. And the pitch taken outside. So nobody on here, no score after 3.5 innings, and Purnell trying to keep it that way moving into the 5th. Orleans got its first 2 hits in the 3rd, but looks for more here with 2 away. Ground out and a fly up. And the offering taken down the middle, as will be 2 strikes here to Brandon Stallman. Purnell thus far has gotten just 1 strikeout. Meanwhile, for the starter for Orleans and Grayson Carter out of Vanderbilt, he has 6 punch-outs. Purnell relying a lot more on ground ball contact. Looks for just 1 more here. The 2-strike pitch, and changeup just misses the outer half of the knees as the count goes even 2-2.
Yeah, that one a very similar spot to the last pitch. Brian Arndt doing everything he can to frame it, but home plate umpire and Engstrand's got to find a way to, kind of appease both sides on those borderline pitches, and that one a little more outside.
And the 2-strike pitch again, and taken on the outer half. So now 2 strikes here to Brandon Stallman. 0 for his last 9 since the middle innings of that 2-1 win against Harwich. Has no extra base hits in his last 16 games. Purnell looking for 1 more out. The pitch. Line back up the middle over Purnell's glove. Over to Camarillo. The lippy outfield grass. He spins onto first, and it's in time. A high throw by Ali Camarillo, but did not look phased one bit as he gives Blake Purnell another 1-2-3 job here in the 4th. And the Mariners hold the Orleans Firebirds quiet here in round 1, game 1 of the postseason, moving into the 5th. No score into the 5th. This is Harwich Mariners playoff baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Blake Purnell, the right-handed starter out of Florida for the Harwich Mariners on the road here at Eldridge Park. Gets another 1-2-3 job in the 4th as he has just 1 strikeout to this point. His defense has been helping him quite a bit here as Cameron Leary, Talmadge LeCroy, Daniel Rivera, the bottom third of the order for 20th year skipper Steve Englert, due up here against the right-hander in Grayson Carter, still on the mound in his latest start on the season, set to go to another year at Vanderbilt, as Leary, meanwhile, the junior out of Bethpage, New York, 6'1", 205 at Boston College, a rising senior. Digs in from the left side here as one of the lone left-handed hitters in the Mariners lineup. Lower third has found a little bit of balance after a 2-out base hit from Cameron Leary back in the 2nd. The first offering he sees, and it's outside on a fastball for ball number 1. Underway in the 5th here. Gorgeous night for playoff baseball here. Game 1 of round 1 in the Cape Cod East Division. Carter out of Vanderbilt, out of the stretch, deals the pitch, and it's spiked to the left side. It's high out towards left field in front of the track, Micheletti Jr., and he makes the catch, slight moving to his left. There's 1 away, and 5 straight retired here for Carter, the right-hander.
Yeah, just A decent swing that time from Leary, but a little under it, and sometimes baseball a game of inches, and that time the launch angle just a little too high, couldn't muscle it out of the yard, and it's really tough when you're going to opposite field to put a good swing on it and hit it down the line and out, but yeah, you'll just have to continue to work at that and get ready for your next at-bat.
First pitch, a skip in the dirt, and just behind the catcher and Henry Hunter for ball number 1 at Talmadge. LeCroy Leary just with 1 extra base hit on the season. That would have been his first home run had it carried further. The 1-0 offering, a fastball just high at the letters as it's taken for ball 2. Harwich and Orleans scoreless going into the 5th inning here. Mariners had 2 hits in the 2nd. Orleans getting 2 hits in the 3rd. The pitch outside on a slider as the count moves to 3-0 here to Talmadge LeCroy, and this is not something that he's unaccustomed to seeing. Has been keen on drawing deep at bats this season and took Carter, the right-handed starter out of Vanderbilt for Orleans, to a 3-2 count back in the 2nd before striking out swinging. A 3-ball pitch, and it's a fastball down the chute as it's 3-1 here. Orleans and Harwich met 6 times in the regular season. Harwich took each of the first 4 before dropping the final 2. And a 3-1 on the way. A fastball taken just on the upper inside corner to the right-handed hitter as he'll try and beat the full count here. Nobody on and 1 away here for the right-handed starter in Carter. The payoff pitch. Changeup on the lower half as it gets called looking. The 7th strikeout here for the right-hander out of Vanderbilt as LeCroy falls to 0 for 2 as they'll try and be a 2-out spark here for Daniel Rivera.
Yeah, that was a great pitch from Carter. Right at the knees, just froze LeCroy. Thought he had ball 4, and sometimes you just got to swing the bat. I mean, he watched 3 pitches, took 3 pitches, and you can't do that. Umpire rung him up on a good strike 3 put-out pitch. Can't blame him.
Check swing, strike 1 down the middle here to Daniel Rivera. Base pass empty. Harwich and Orleans scoreless with 2 down here at Eldridge Park. The 0-1 bounced over towards the middle, over to the right side. A rolling ball for Oyama, and the second baseman zips it onto first. And it's a 1-2-3 job here for Grayson Carter as he has retired 7 of the last 7 he has faced as he keeps Harwich down in order in the 5th. Halfway home here at Eldridge Park. Harwich and Orleans facing off in round 1, game 1 here tonight. This is Harwich Mariners playoff baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Game 1, round 1, and it's been scoreless between Harwich and Orleans at Eldridge Park. The Mariners lost 2-1 in walk-off fashion in the bottom of the 9th inning against the Orleans Firebirds as Jake Casey out of Kent State pushed one into left field for a 2-1 victory, but the Firebirds still looking to get on the board first here. Henry Hunter, Colin Tuft, and Joe Oyamadu up against the right-hander out of Boynton Beach, Florida in the SEC, and Blake Purnell. Left-handed Henry Hunter up for the 2nd time. The first pitch he sees, a bunt laid down, back over to Purnell off the mound as he lobs it over to first, and it just beats him by about a half step. That time, a high throw to Ethan Anderson out of Virginia as Purnell's retired the last 4, 1 away in the bottom of the 5th.
And we've said how it's really difficult, to try and find ways to work that ball over to first base as a pitcher on a bunt attempt because it's such a different style of throwing. You're throwing off the mound downhill, consistently, and then throwing it over to first all of a sudden becomes a different task when the elevation's the same. And yeah, no, a nice job by Purnell and a better job by Anderson to get that foot out of the way before he almost got trampled and record the out.
Now the first pitch here to Colin Tuft, and it's watched at high for ball number 1. Harwich and Orleans scoreless with 1 away here in the bottom of the 5th. Ready battle, a 1-0 pitch. Now fastball taken on the upper outside corner. Scott evens up here at 1-1 at Colin Tuft. First pitch, a single to shortstop for the Orleans Firebirds' first hit back in the third. They still have 2 here in the fifth. The pitch, ground over towards the left side, it trails foul. Count moves to 1-2 here against the Virginia transfer in Tuft, set to go to Tulane. Originally out of Vienna, Virginia, about 30 minutes from Washington, D.C. He has 1 hit in 5 of his last 6 games. He's found some momentum towards the end of the regular season. Hits right-handers a lot better than left-handers this season, the Cape Cod Baseball League. 257, but Purnell on the verge of pitching a season high here for the Mariners. Priorly at 4 innings, he's working here in the 5th. A 2-strike pitch, and it backs him off on a fastball. It's 2-2.
Yeah, he's actually tied his season high 4 1/3 innings here. Now, if he's able to notch one more out, Wyatt, he'll have passed that threshold. And what a better time to do it than game 1.
And to think that maybe having a sense of preservation coming into this one after going 1 inning against Orleans. The pitch, a cut and a miss as he deals a slider. Had Tuft out in front as Blake Purnell has his 2nd strikeout, and he has 2 away here in the 5th.
Yeah, good to see his stuff all still working here this late into the ball game. I mean, he's just been everything you could want out of a start. And as I mentioned, had some shaky seasons at Florida and Harwich, but comes here, and he's been fantastic in the playoffs and this summer for the Mariners, for that matter. And hopefully he can keep it going, and bullpen behind him will be able to pick it up when it's their time.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. A lot of consecutive scoreless innings here for the Mariners, earning his 3rd start here today as he faces Joe Oyama, the left-handed hitter. The first pitch, a fastball, attacking the upper inside corner for strike number 1. Oyama reaching on an E3 back in the 1st. The Mariners' only error here today. Flat out to left field, back in the 3rd. The 0-1, lined over towards the right side, moving to his left. Rivera, he scoops, he bobbles it, recovers, fires to first, and it's in time. Daniel Rivera sticking with it on a hard rolling ground ball that time as Blake Purnell has retired the last 6 he's faced, as 5 innings have been completed here at Eldridge Park. Game 1 of round 1, and it's still scoreless going to the 6th inning. This is Harwich Mariners playoff baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Still scoreless after 5 innings in Game 1 of Round 1 of the Cape Cod Baseball League East Division playoffs. Harwich and Orleans getting back together at Eldridge Park after Harwich lost in walk-off fashion 2-1 back on Monday night. Top of the order due up here against the right-handed starter in Grayson Carter, sophomore out of Vanderbilt, originally out of Louisville, Colorado, coming off of a scoreless 3 1/3 innings appearance in a 4-3 win against Chatham. Set to face Camarillo for the 3rd time here today. The first pitch on the way, and it backs Camarillo off below as it's a fastball missing low for ball number 1. Harwich with 2 hits, Orleans with 2 hits. It looks awfully similar to how the Mariners and the Firebirds played it out last time on Monday night, except for the fact that there has not been a home run in this game. Ali Camarillo had a 2-out home run in the middle innings. The pitch, bang to the right side as it clears the light tower down the right field line, and it goes foul into the seats as it's 1-1 here. Orleans and Harwich could not be more different down the second half of the season. Orleans won 15 of its last 27 games, but still ended up falling in the season series 4-2, won the last 2 matchups. The 1-1 deal, slider missing high as it's 2-1. Harwich and Orleans finding some hitting momentum at near identical points in this game. Harwich got the game's first 2 hits in the second. Orleans in the third as the pitch is driven deep out towards left field. King going all the way back to the warning track. He's looking up, and it is gone. Ali Camarillo blasts his third home run on the season and his second in the last week here at Eldridge Park, and he just broke the stalemate as it's 1-0 Harwich here in the sixth.
I mean, that ball was cranked. He did homer in the last game here at Eldridge Park, but that one to dead center field, he got all of it off the batting cage out there, and he gives his team the lead in what's been a really minute offensive game. I mean, what a blast from Ali Camarillo that time, and the Mariners strike first.
Third hit for Harwich, and it gives the Mariners that 1-0 lead they need. The first pitch to Kevin Keister, a healthy hack and a miss for strike number one. The Mariners, a team in the regular season that finished with 20 home runs. The pitch to Keister, another cut and a miss high as it's 0-2. Second fewest home runs in the Cape Cod Baseball League, Orleans with the third most at 32. And the two-strike pitch, and the Smyrna, Delaware native watched it high on a fastball for ball number one. Harwich leading 1-0 on the solo bomb from Ali Camarillo. The pitch, boom to the right side, and running over the first baseman, haul back over, and the right fielder in tough tries to meet him near the seating as it bounced off of the light tower. And the count remains 1-2 here to Keister, looking for that first hit as Camarillo was just a moment ago. Sparse clouds across the outfield. The floodlights are on here. It grew overcast for quite some time after the sun was beaming down here on Eldridge Park, as the Mariners look to extend their lead here. Still none away here in the sixth. The 1-2 from Carter. Bounced over towards the right side, past the glove of Carter, over to the second baseman. Oyama fields it onto first, and it's on the ground, and it's in time. A nice dig that time from Matt Hallback, and there's finally one away here for Carter, even though he's only faced two.
Yeah, no, and just missed that one. It actually went off the glove of Carter, and Keister looked like he was going to have a chance to leg it out, but a good, strong play from Oyama. He's been spectacular all season long, so reliable and able to pick up the loose change.
That brings up Ethan Anderson, 0 for 2 here today, due for a hit. As the Mariners finally got their third hit on a leadoff home run, the first pitch, a slider cut on and missed for strike one. Harwich hitting .208 with 12 RBIs in the last 5 games. And had a near handful of runs in its final 10 games of the regular season as well. The 0-1 offering, a cut and a miss, as it's 0-2 here for the Virginia Beach, Virginia native and Ethan Anderson. Harwich needs run early here, and in the 6th inning, it finally breaks through. Second fewest runs per game the regular season. The 0-2 to Anderson. Cut on and missed for strike 3. Ethan Anderson strikes out for the second time here today, as there are 2 away here for Carter out of Vanderbilt.
8 strikeouts for Carter here today, and despite the one mistake he's made, which was the solo home run, he's been filthy. I mean, up and down the board, he's put together 3 innings in which he's faced the minimum, and then one where he faced 4. Really has hit no chop other than that home run, and continuing to do it.
First pitch to Devin Obie, slider all the way to the backstop on the ground for ball 1. Harwich had 1-0 here with 2 away in the top of the 6th. Nobody on here for the outfielder out of Duke against Grayson Carter. Slanted stance, middle of the rubber. 1-0 high on a fastball, 2-0. Harwich had only scored 1 run in the last 2 games. It lost here in the regular season series against Orleans, but trying to extend its lead here against the 6'5", 250-pound Carter out of Vanderbilt. Finished his sophomore season, 4.08 ERA, 2 wins. The 2-0, a cut and a miss, and tapped back behind home plate as it's 2-1 here to the Nashville native in Obie. Carter was quite efficient this past season at Vanderbilt, 23 strikeouts in just over 28 innings. And he's got 8 here against the Mariners lineup. The 2-1. Grounded over towards the right side. An awkward ball here for Hallback, and he scoops and fires it on to a covering Carter over at first for the final out here in the 6th, but not before the Mariners take the game's first lead at 1-0 on a solo blast from Ali Camarillo to left center, his 3rd long ball on the season. It's 1 run on 1 hit, no errors and none left on, as Carter retires 3 in a row after the small blemish. Harwich leading 1-0 going into the bottom of the 6th. This is Harwich Mariners postseason baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Leadoff home run from Ali Camarillo, his third on the season, gets the Mariners a 1-0 lead. Through 5.5 innings, Sean Hard, the right-hander out of Boston College, relieves Blake Purnell after 5 solid innings. The first pitch on the way. A fastball missing high above the letters for ball number 1. Justin Rubin, Jack Penny, Matt Holback, 2, 3, and 4 hitters due up here for Orleans, trailing Harwich 1-0. Here to start the bottom of the 6th. The 1-0 offering from Hard, a slider outside. Quickly 2-0 here. Final line for Blake Purnell, the right-handed starter out of Florida, making his 3rd start in the season. He went 5 innings, scoreless, 2 hits, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts dealt. Hard out of the windup, a 2-ball pitch, roll back up the middle over to Camarillo. It's short. He has to spin, but he won't be able to corral in time at the lip of the outfield grass, just behind the second base bag. He had an incredible play just beforehand. And nonetheless, a leadoff base runner on here on an infield single, the first hit for Justin Rubin.
Yeah, and just back to Blake Purnell's day, I mean, he was fantastic, did everything he could to put his team in a position to win. They only gave him 1 run of support, which came in the last inning from Ali Camarillo. Now Sean Hard, a guy who's going to have to come in, take the reins, and be solid. When he's hitting his spots and throwing velocity, he's good, but when his control fails, that's when his game starts to really go down the creek.
Jack Penny lofts it into shallow left field, stays fair. The third baseman Keister moving back, and the catch attempted that time by Cameron Leary as he makes it for out number 1 here in the 6th. Looking at Sean Hard, meanwhile, Devin, he also pitched an inning. It was the 2nd, as he only pitched 1 inning of relief in the Mariners' 2-1 home loss against Orleans. His latest appearance on the season, 8 games this season. Only gotten 1 start, but he has a 31-18 strikeout to walk ratio, as Matt Holback will come up here after Jack Penny goes down for the first time here tonight. So Matt Holback, the cleanup hitter, stepping in here, had a 10-game hitting streak at one point this season. Working with the runner on first and 1 away. First pitch, a slider outside. Arndt thought about a back pick down to first. Arndt has caught about a dozen thieves on the base pass this year as well, as he is near the top of the Cape Cod Baseball League in catchers in runners caught stealing. Righty-righty battle here. Holback looking to reach here as he checks the swing and fouls it over into the Orleans dugout for strike 1. Penny going down for the first time in the 3 spot as Harwich leads Orleans 1-0 with 1 away here in the bottom of the 6th. Justin Rubin with a leadoff single to short here. His first hit of the night. Hard set with the 1-1. A cut and a miss. A slider attacks the outer half as it's 1-2. Sean Hard averaging just under 4 strikeouts per appearance. We've talked about it extensively. Very reliant on the strikeouts. Needs to preserve this 1-run lead here for the Mariners. The 2-strike pitch. Slider cut on and missed. Holback goes down on strikes for the first time here, and it's a first strikeout here for Sean Hard as he's off to a strong start here in the 6th.
Yeah, he's the team leader now with 32 strikeouts. He's a guy who really can pump some velocity, similar to Grayson Carty that we saw for the Firebirds starting on the mound. And yeah, Hard, like I said, when he's able to hit his spots and have control, he can be really one of the best pitchers, an all-star alternate he was named. And yeah, now he's got 2 down here in the 6th.
Wind blowing out to right field here for the left-handed hitting Eddie Micheletti Jr. as he takes a fastball inside below the belt for ball 1. As you say, control. The Mariners finally getting some control here. As Blake Purnell fell into some deep counts in his first 3 innings and then got his 2nd strikeout in the 5th. Now Hard with 1 here. Run around first and 2 away. The 1-ball pitch. Low and away on a slider. Low and inside for that matter. 2-0 here to Eddie Micheletti Jr. Left fielder 0 for 2 here tonight. Blake Purnell removed after 5 innings, a season high in innings pitched this season. Pitched 2 games in the College World Series final against LSU. Hard behind the count, working out of the stretch as the 2-0 is taken down the middle as it's 2-1. Hard is very, very reliant on that fastball, not hesitant to go to it to try and get back in counts, as that's what he looks to do here with the Mariners ahead 1-0 on a solo bomb from Ali Camarillo out of Chula Vista, California. Micheletti looking to reach. The 2-1 is spiked over towards the right side of the infield. Anderson, the first baseman, leaves it for Rivera as the Southern New Hampshire transfer makes the catch. And that closes out the 6th inning here despite a leadoff single from Justin Rubin of Orleans. So Hard gets a flyout, a strikeout, and a pop out here as he retires 3 in a row after giving up the leadoff single. Harwich still ahead 1-0. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on for Orleans, trailing the Mariners 1-0 going into the 7th inning here from Eldridge Park. This is Harwich Mariners playoff baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Harwich ahead 1-0, round one, game one, and it's 6 innings through already here in Orleans. The light towers are on here. The crowd has turned out. It's been a buzzing crowd as well around two great starting pitching matchups, but both of those have concluded as Matthew Watson of Texas A&M Corpus Christi steps in here to face Brian Arndt. Harwich ahead 1-0, and over to my broadcast partner for the final frames here at Eldridge, to my broadcast partner, Devin Dobeck.
Thank you, Wyatt. Matthew Watson will take the hill, as you mentioned, the right-hander, 6'5", 220 pounds out of Bentonville, Arizona. Record of 1-0 coming in. He has a 1.29 earned run average, making his 6th appearance all in relief. 7 innings, 3 hits, just 1 earned run, and 2 strikeouts to 1 walk. Excited to see what he brings here, as first pitch to Arndt is going to be fouled off, and it's 0-1. Final line for Grayson Carter. He goes 6 innings, just 3 hits. The earned run, which was the solo blast by Ali Camarillo, and then 8 strikeouts to 1 walk. He was fantastic today, but his offense needing to pick it up here. They got just 9 outs to work with, as it'll quickly be 0-2 to Brian Arndt, who on the day is 0 for 2 with a ground out to short and a line out to first. Looking for his first postseason hit for the Mariners this summer. As Watson into his motion, here's the pitch. And it's going to be fought off the end of the bat over into the seats on the right, and we stay at 0-2.
Harwich only with 3 hits to this point here and needs a little bit more invigoration from the middle of this lineup. Have to get after Watson early, put pressure on him.
After Arndt, it will be Lambros and Leary as Arndt rolls this one over to the shortstop in Penny. He smooths it ever so cleanly and over to first. That's out number 1 here in the 7th.
And how about what Watson has been able to do here, just getting that leadoff batter gone, so critical here in a 1-0 deficit where you're trying to get quick outs. Carter did a good job of settling back in after allowing the solo bomb to Camarillo, retired to 3 straight.
It'll be Elijah Lambros who digs in. Singled back in inning number 2. That was the first hit of the ball game for the Mariners, and in the game for that matter. Then his next at-bat back in the 4th, he grounded out to first base. He's ahead in the count, 1 ball and no strikes here. Maryland Terrapin searching for another multi-hit game. He's been so prolific at putting those together, as that one's bounced in the dirt, and it's 2-0. But yeah, Lambros, I mean, such a key piece in the middle of that order. Since his arrival here in Harwich, has put together 3 multi-hit games, as that one's going to be in there for a strike to make the count 2-1. Lambros, native of Fredericksburg, Virginia, 6'1", 193-pound right-handed hitter. Set for the 2-1, and it's a check swing. He went around anyway, and he knew it, and it's 2-2. Lambros hitting .286 for the Mariners this season. Had the night off a couple nights ago in preparation for the playoffs, as here's the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball chopped over towards third base, but foul, and so we stay at 2-2. This past season for the Terrapins hit .288. Hitting .286 here in Harwich. That's pretty consistent in my book. Slugged much better in Maryland, though. .541 versus .314 here in Harwich. As that one spiked in the dirt. Gets all the way over towards the first base camera. And so the count now becomes 3-2.
Watson a bit infuriated with himself with his lack of commands in the last couple of pitches here. He knew this at-bat could have been over. He could have had a quick out again.
Here comes the payoff pitch from Watson. And it's going to be fouled off. And it will escape out of play over on the hill here at Eldridge Park. And so it remains 3-2. Good at bat from Lambros, though, making the pitcher work. We'll see who's able to win the battle. On deck, Cameron Leary. He's also 1 for 2 on the day. Watson into his windup. Here's the pitch, and it's going to be ripped out into center field. Going over is Eddie King Jr. to his left, and under it, he makes the catch. It's 2 up, 2 down to start the 7th.
And as much as Harwich has gone down 5 in order after the home run from Camarillo, you have to feel a sense of gratification that you were able to trust yourself to swing the pitches that you did. He knew he had to protect. High fastball may have been a borderline strike, but for Lambros, he has the ability to put the charge on him, just got a little bit under it.
Cameron Leary digs in. He's singled and flied out to left today, trying to avoid a 1-2-3 7th for Matthew Watson, As first pitch is going to be popped foul off and over the road to make it 0-1. On deck, Talmadge, Lecroy. Mariners on top of the Firebirds, 1-0 here in the 7th inning of Game 1 in Round 1. Cape Cod Baseball League postseason. Next pitch is going to be in there for a strike. It's quickly 0-2. Some scores around the league. Bourne defeated Cotuit 14-8. Brewster defeated YD 18-7. A pair of number 1s falling number 4s in Game 1. And Hyannis on top of Falmouth 11-3. That game's still ongoing. The pitch misses down low, and it's 1-2. But yeah, a wacky postseason. You wouldn't necessarily expect it, but upsets all across the board. And Harwich could be the 3rd team to upset the higher seed here if they can pull out a win, as that one misses down low. It's 2-2. Breaking ball has not been working very well control-wise for Watson. As here comes the 2-2 offering, and it's going to be laced way out into the gap in left center field. Over is Eddie King Jr. to his right and makes a running catch to end the inning and take away extra bases from Leary. He gave that one a good ride, but it's allowed out number 3, as it's a clean 1-2-3 for Matthew Watson in his first inning of work. Time to stretch here at Eldridge Park in Game 1. 1-0 Mariners. To the bottom of the 7th we go. We'll be back on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Ready for the home half of the 7th here. Devin Dobeck alongside Wyatt Kopelman along with you as the Mariners are out in front of the Firebirds 1-0 here. And what is a game moving right along here in round 1. It'll be Eddie King Jr., Brandon Stallman, and Henry Hunter due up for the Firebirds. Here's the first pitch, and it's bounced in the dirt for a ball. It's 1-0 from Sean Hart out there for his 2nd inning of work. Give up a leadoff single in the 6th inning and then retire the next 3 batters he faced, including a strikeout of Matt Halbach. 1-0 is going to miss outside. 2-0 now to Eddie King Jr. He's got some serious speed. Definitely not someone you want to put on the bases for free. Hard, showing the glove out in front of him. Now kicks and fires, and it's fouled back towards the press box here at Eldridge Park, and it's 2-1. That breeze starting to pick up as we approach the 70-degree mark once more here at Eldridge Park. Firebirds fans have been relatively quiet all night, a group that definitely likes to get into the game, but not much to cheer about here tonight. They've been held to just 3 hits, no runs on the scoreboard, and their team losing. It's been not the recipe that they ordered. 3 balls and a strike. The next pitch in there for a strike to make it 3-2 to Eddie King Jr. He didn't like the call, shaking his head, disagreeing with Chris Engstrand. As Hard now trying to make him pay. Here's the payoff pitch, and it's going to be lined into center field for a base hit. Eddie King Jr. checks in here in the bottom of the 7th, and there's 1 on with nobody away.
You look at all the base hits. This one only the 3rd for Orleans, but the first 2 they had were early in counts. That time, Eddie King Jr. just finding a way to get back in counts, and that's what he's done, even though he's been 0 for 2 to start the night. A nice piece of hitting that time against a tall right-hander.
Brandon Stallman now will dig in. He's grounded out to each of the middle infielders, first to Daniel Rivera and then to Ali Camarillo. 0 for 2 on the day, and the first pitch to Hard. He shows bunt, and it's flied way up and over the road. Not every day you see a bunt get launched back like that, and it's 0-1. So the Birds electing for a little small ball, so it seems here. Eddie King Jr. does have speed at first, so surprised they're not trying a stolen base attempt. Eddie King has 8 stolen bases. He's been caught just once. Snap throw down to first. He's back in there safely. Good effort from Brian Arndt. Count is going to be a ball and a strike now. Brandon Stallman trying to knot this thing up for the Firebirds. He shows bunt here. Here's the pitch, and he missed it. That one in there for a strike in now. Going to be a lot tougher to bunt against the hard-throwing Sean Hard. Got to keep it in fair territory, too. Can't bunt a foul with 2 strikes or you're out. 1-2 set to come to Stallman, the 7-hitter. Here it is. Checked his swing. Did he go? No. So says Mickey Garcia. And wow, that one looked like he almost fully went around. We have a pretty good vantage point, though, to take in the swing, but Orleans going to be able to stay alive. 2 balls, 2 strikes. As Hard comes set, pitching out of the stretch. Here it is. Breaking ball's cut on a miss. It gets through Brian Arndt. The batter is out. The runner and Eddie King Jr. will head down to second. And Arndt launches it into center field. Down into third is going to be King Jr., and it's almost like the drop third worked as a bunt. Brian Arndt with a big mistake there. I'm not exactly sure what he was thinking, Wyatt. The runner was 2 steps away from second base in King Jr., and Arndt still took a shot down to second, and it cost the Mariners an extra 90 feet. Orleans now just 90 feet away from tying this game. A mental error by Brian Arndt. Orleans now will try and make it hurt. It is an error on Brian Arndt.
The unwarranted liberties on the base pass come back to haunt Harwich here. If you don't know where the runner is going, you don't have to throw it right away. Arndt knew where he was going, but he just didn't know he was going to be off that quickly.
First pitch to Henry Hunter is going to miss up high for a ball. It's 1-0. On the day, Henry Hunter is grounded back to the pitcher twice. Blake Purnell had his number. As here comes the 1-0 offering now. And swing and miss, it's 1-1. Colin Tuft on deck. Mariners leading the Firebirds 1-0, but Orleans 90 feet away from scoring here with Eddie King Jr. on third base. The pitch. And cut on a miss. That moves the count now to 1-2. And if you're Henry Hunter, got to find a way to put this in play. A lot of ways you can score Eddie King Jr., but a strikeout won't do any of them. 1-2. Misses inside, 2-2. Crowd at Eldridge Park starting to come together with a slow ovation, trying to cheer on the Birds here, who have not won a playoff series since 2018. The pitch. And it's cut on a miss. Sean Hard wins the battle. Big strikeout that time. And there's 2 away.
Wasn't as hard as fastball, but was able to get it just by Hunter that time. Good location, not leaving it too high. Forces a key hitter in the bottom third of the lineup to 0 for 3. And Colin Tuft comes up here looking to get one past the infield after the infield single in his first time up.
Orleans needs a pass ball, a wild pitch, or a base hit, or else they will take their 1-0 deficit into the 8th inning. It comes down to the 9-hitter in Tuft. He is 1 for 2 on the day with a single. He's got one of just 4 hits for the Firebirds. First pitch from Hard is going to miss outside. It's 1-0. Breaking ball just got away from him that time. Joe Oyama, the ever-dangerous leadoff hitter, awaits on deck. He's been fantastic, and we'll see if he can notch his first hit if he gets the opportunity. The pitch just misses outside. It's 2-0. Good spot for Sean Hard, but doesn't work out. Now it's a hitter's count to Tuft. He's got to be prepared to hit. Hard coming set, tapping that left foot, and deals. And it misses outside, 3-0. I mean, these can't be missing by much. Sean Hard just missing the zone. And so we're set now for the 3-0 pitch. And it's down the middle for a strike, 3-1. A take-me-all-the-way pitch that time to Colin Tuft, because if he can get on base for free, Joe Oyama, one of the hottest hitters in the Cape Cod Baseball League, would get his opportunity. The pitch. And throwing the bat over the netting into the crowd. That caused some havoc. We're going to need some help over there. Oh my God, that one was launched into the stands. I don't know if everyone's okay. A child has the bat. He's trying to run it back onto the field.
Colin Tuft is going over to retrieve it too. I don't think he expected it for it to fly that far. If you're Tuft, you were trying to take that 3-1 pitch into the power alleys, and he's been trying to keep himself from guessing on some of these pitches. Hart has done a good job moving the pitch, and there goes the pine tar. He needs a heck of a lot of it.
You really don't expect that to happen when you're enjoying the game. A bat to get thrown over the protective netting into the stands. It appears everyone's okay. We don't have any EMTs sprinting onto the scene, which is always a good sign, but the intern's definitely going to check on the person over there. Scary moment. So the count moves to 3-2 now. Colin Tuft trying to find his way aboard or knock in the run. One or the other will work. Here comes the payoff. And it just misses outside, and Tuft knew it. Sean Hard tried to paint the corner and just missed, and now he's going to have to go through Joe Oyama, the scenic route, to try and end the 7th inning.
Difference between one pitch of either getting this batter out and striking out the side with a changeup, and now Oyama coming up instead and trying just to push one past Hard here. He's been great thus far after the leadoff single to center field, but Oyama has been known to break momentum so often this season.
Oyama's reached on an error back in inning number 1. He's also flied out to left and grounded out to second. An uncharacteristic 0-for-3 day for him. First pitch from Hard is going to be in there for a strike. A favorable righty on lefty matchup for Joe Oyama. Stands in right around the 5.7, 5.8 mark, trying to make a big impact. Here comes the 0-1. And a healthy cut and miss at the breaking ball. Sean Hard pulled the string, and it snapped, and it's 0-2.
Disadvantage here, you can't exactly bunt to draw the runner home. For a drag bunt, that is Oyama, lefty.
0-2 pitch coming, and it misses inside. The runner advances down to second on a stolen base for Colin Tuft. 13 of those for him this season now. Oyama staying alive. Count is 1-2. Runners in scoring position for the Firebirds, the tying and leading run. Here comes the 1-2, and it's going to be grounded over to first. Ethan Anderson fields, going to be a foot race to the bag, and Anderson wins it. The inning ends. The Mariners strand 2 in scoring position, and Sean Hard escapes the jam. It's still 1-0 Harwich as we head to the 8th inning. Right back in a flash. You're listening to Harwich Mariners postseason baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Back into the 8th inning we go. It'll be Talmadge, Lecroy, Daniel Rivera, and Ali Camarillo set to face Matthew Watson, who had a 1-2-3 7th inning for the Firebirds, who trail 1-0 here in Game 1 of Round 1 in the 2023 CCBL postseason. First pitch misses blown away to Talmadge Lecroy, and it's 1-0. Hyannis now on top of Falmouth 12-3. Blowout going on out at McKeon Park as the next pitch misses up high to Lee Croy, and it's 2-0. This is the closest game by far. I mean, 1-0 Harwich on top here in the 8th inning. Brewster won by 11, Bourne won by 6, and Hyannis up by 9. Here's the pitch, and it's going to be lined on one bounce over to the first baseman, Hallback. He'll flip over to Watson, who's there on the coverage, and there's going to be one down here in the 8th.
Harwich has been putting the ball in play. It's forced a lot of ground outs, and it's forced Watson and Carter, the starter out of Vanderbilt, to move a lot here tonight. And you got a lot of strikeouts, but still none here for Watson out of Texas A&M Corpus Christi. And Harwich has done a good job of avoiding them.
Be Daniel Rivera's turn. Rivera on the day 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out to second. After Rivera, it'll be Camarillo. Mariners leading 1-0 thanks to Ali's solo blast to dead center field to put them on top. Pitch to Rivera is going to find its way into the zone, and the count's going to be a ball and a strike. Rivera trying to get on ahead of the top of the order. Here comes the pitch, and it's going to be popped up into shallow right field. Foul territory. Ranging in is Tuft, and he makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down here in the 8th.
8 straight retired here between Carter and Watson. They've done a good job, bring a lot of mixing pitches, which have had good movement as right-handers here for this Orleans pitching staff. But Ali Camarillo just has been so clutch in the last 10 games. Over the last 10 regular season games, had nearly 10 hits. And he has an opportunity just to give the Mariners a little bit more here with that 1-0 lead and 2 away.
Ali Camarillo is ready for the first pitch he sees, and it's in there for a strike. As I just mentioned, had that solo blast to put the Mariners up. That's the difference maker as it stands, 1-0. He's grounded out to shortstop and also struck out here in the ball game. Here comes the 0-1 offering from Watson. And it's bounced in the dirt to make the count 1-1. Kevin Keister on deck. Orleans trailing 1-0. They have just 6 outs to work with to try and push something across and extend the ball game. Mariners trying to negate that opportunity. Here's the pitch. And it's going to be lined into right field for a base hit. Ali Camarillo, a multi-hit game, and a game in which hits have been few and far between. Just the 4th for the Mariners, and it's a little 2-out action here in the 8th. We'll see if Kevin Keister can make anything of it.
Had 5 multi-hit games in the last 10 outings before the regular season ended. Camarillo just doing what he does best. Didn't go too deep into the count that time, but to give a hit to the top of the order, it's actually the first hit among the top 4 hitters, is crucial here.
Keister will dig in, and a guy who you definitely want up in this situation late in the ball game. First pitch to him in there for a strike, right below the letters, and it's 0-1. Keister leading the Mariners in on-base percentage at .556, slugging at .696, average at .478, and OPS at 1.252. He's been fantastic, and we'll see what can happen here, as it looks like there were some car lights on out in right field, causing a brief halt to the game. No balls and a strike to Keister. Watson trying to get out of the inning. Speed and Ali Camarillo down at first. Keep an eye on him to go, as pickoff attempt to keep him honest. He's back in there with the right hand, and so we stay at 0-1. Watson coming set at the waist, tapping those feet. He comes home now with the 0-1. There goes Camarillo, and it's going to be lined over to the shortstop, Penny. He backhands over to first, and it will be offline. Camarillo heading into third with a dive. And now the Mariners putting something together here in the 8th. An infield single from Kevin Keister, and there's runners at the corners.
Quite the time to get your first hit on the day as well, Devin. Looked to be a typical hit-and-run opportunity. It proved to be more than that as well. And you bring up Ethan Anderson, also due for a hit. He's been prone to strikeouts, trying to work a deep at-bat here.
And not been Ethan Anderson's day at the plate thus far. A pair of strikeouts, one looking, one swinging. He's also grounded, or actually both swinging, and then he's also grounded back to the pitcher, who at the time was Grayson Carter. Watson with runners on the corners and 2 away after back-to-back singles with 2 outs. And the first pitch going to be in there for a strike. It's 0-1. Anderson this season for the Mariners hitting 195 across his 82 at-bats. 253 on base percentage. Pickoff attempt not successful over at Kevin Keister on first. After Anderson, it will be Devin Obie, some guys who are really good at driving in runs, set to get going for Harwich. Here's the pitch from Watson. Misses up high and away, and it's 1-1. Crowd has once again grown quiet. They had something going back in the 7th inning when they had runners in scoring position and 2 away, but Mariners able to get out of the jam, and now they've taken the momentum back. A chance to score here. The 1-1 misses up and away, and it's 2-1. Devin Obie, who awaits on decks, also 0 for 3. A pair of strikeouts, 1 looking, 1 swinging, and a ground out to first base. Harwich on top of Orleans, 1-0 here. Late in the ball game, here comes the pitch, and it's going to be flied out in a deep left field. Going over is going to be Micheletti Jr., and he makes the catch for out number 3. Well, the Mariners strand a pair at the corners. They still lead at 1-0 as we head to the home half of the 8th. Time burning out for the Firebirds. We'll take a quick break and be back in a few moments here. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Bottom of the 8th inning, it'll be Justin Rubin, Jack Penny, and Matt Halbach for the Orleans Firebirds, who trail 1-0 here. And Sean Hard back to the hill for the Mariners, his 3rd inning of work, as that one going to be in there on the up and away corner for a strike. And Justin Rubin's got some words for Chris Ingstrand, the home plate umpire. Here comes the 0-1, and it's going to be a breaking ball in there for a strike. 0-2. Rubin going to have to protect now. He's 1 for 3 on the day with a fly out to right. He's also reached on a fielder's choice and singled back in the 6th inning. Hard ahead 0-2. The pitch. Breaking ball's cut on and missed. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Sean Hard retires Justin Rubin, who's sent packing, and it looks like a warning's been given to Rubin as he marches off the mound, and Chris Ingstrand's going to head over and talk to Kelly Nicholson, as there's one away here in the 8th.
Quite the convincing pitch by Hard, and when he can get the curveball and the slider going, it's arguably the most commanding off-speed arsenals on the team here for the Mariners, and Hard entering with such a strong strikeout-to-walk ratio this season. Looks like Eddie Micheletti Jr. is being waved off of the on-deck circle a little bit. Safety concern here.
Jack Penny is going to dig in with one away here in the 8th. He watches ball 1 miss outside. Penny has walked, singled, and also flied out to left. He's been one of the few positives in this Orleans lineup and something you'd expect from the 3-hitter. Count is 2 balls and no strikes. Matt Halbach on deck. The pitch. It's going to be fly back, and it's 2-1. Headed right towards the producer for the Firebirds, Adam, who almost got nailed. There's a cut in the netting and plenty of space for the ball to make its way through, but he got out of the way. Count moves now to 3-1. Penny trying to work his way aboard any way he can, especially ahead of Matt Halbach, who can change this whole ball game with one swing of the bat. The pitch. This is up high, and it's a 5-pitch walk from Sean Hard. Something he's done a decent job of avoiding up until that point. Had just 1 walk, now up to 2, and this is when he starts getting into trouble, especially into the heart of the order and the cleanup hitter and Matt Halbach.
Harwich does not surrender a lot of walks, just the second fewest in the Cape Cod Baseball League, and looks like R.J. Thomas, the pitching coach, is going to go have a word with the Mahwah, New Jersey native, make sure that the pitch sequencing and the mechanics are good here, because with Orleans now having the tying run on first again here for the 3rd time since Camarillo's home run, you want to make sure that you can, of course, get those quick outs that you need, only 1 away, and Hard will have to get some ground ball contact going as well.
Halbach will dig into that right-handed side. He was hit by a pitch in the 1st. He reached on a fielder's choice in the 3rd and struck out back in the 6th. As it stands now, he is 0 for 2. Sean Hard patting Brian Arndt on the back. He's ready to rock here. R.J. Thomas departing the hill. And, yeah, the pressure continuing to mount for Sean Hard, the Boston College product. He was selected by the New York Yankees a couple years ago, late in the MLB draft. I'm sure he will redeclare at some point because he has definitely improved his stock over the past couple seasons, especially this summer in Harwich. First pitch to Halbach is going to be fouled off, and it's 0-1 back over towards the road behind us here. 1-0 Harwich, but a runner on with 1 away for Halbach. Jack Penny down at first, thanks to a walk. Penny this season has been caught 3 times, has no steals, so definitely not a huge threat to go. Count is 0-2 now to Halbach. As big lead off of first for Penny, and the pitch, it's going to be off the end of the bat over towards Sean Hard, and it actually will go foul, spinning away from the line, and Mariners might have caught a break there. Would have been a tough play, especially trying to lob it over the runner, and so we stay at 0-2.
Just a crucial spot here for Halbach, who's been so critical to this Orleans hitting this season. He had that 10-game hit streak that just ended on July 30th and needs to get a runner into scoring position here. Orleans had 2 back in the 7th, but Sean was able to bounce back really strongly.
Sean Hard coming set at the waist, and here's the pitch. Breaking ball is going to be spoiled off the end of the bat over towards the Harwich interns here behind the plate, and so we stay at 0-2. Hyannis still on top of Falmouth, 12-3. That game heading into the 9th inning. As the pitch is going to be a broken bat headed our way, and that was definitely causing a commotion. Wow, yeah. Half a bat just launched our way. And so the count's still 0-2. Halbach, yeah, split it right in half, got jammed, and sometimes that's just what happens.
Orleans taking some really big hacks here at this point in the game. Certainly have to give credit to not trying to be too conservative on pitches, but just has not been getting the right kind of contact here against Hard nor Purnell.
No balls, 2 strikes. Matt Halbach trying to find his way aboard here. The pitch is going to be fouled off again. He's been so productive and trying to win this battle against the hard-throwing Sean Hard. It's funny how I do that, not trying to double the hard there, but it always happens. Sean Hard coming set at the waist. Here comes his 0-2 once again, and it's going to be fouled off. He's put together a really good at-bat and receiving some love from his teammates for it. They're really thrilled with him eating away at pitches. Native of Los Gatos, California, right in the Bay Area, about 7 hours north of UC San Diego, where he attends college. CCBL All-Star, holding down the fort at first for the Firebirds. The 0-2 is in there. Strike three. He's rung up and away on a breaking ball. Hard might have hung that one, but sometimes you make a mistake and it works out. That time it does. His 5th strikeout. He's up to 36 on the season, and there's 2 away.
Harwich had only 2 strikeouts entering the 6th inning, and for it to be able to finally tap into some now, and Hart has been great with the changeup in addition to the breaking ball pitches, and he's been able to have a little bit of leverage here.
Eddie Micheletti Jr. on the day is 0 for 3 as first pitch he watches down in the knees, and it's 0-1. Micheletti Jr. flew out to right field twice, once in the 1st, once in the 4th, and he's also popped out to 2nd at Daniel Rivera, as this one's going to be shot up way into the air. Shallow center field. Ali Camarillo is under and makes the catch on the towering fly ball for out number 3. Sean Hard gets through his 3rd inning of shutout work here. The Mariners clinging to that 1-run lead. Into the final frame we go. We'll be back in just a flash. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. To the 9th inning we go. It'll be Devin Obie, Brian Art, and Elijah Lambros due up for the NERS, the middle 3rd of their order for that matter. As here comes the first pitch from Watson. It's big swing and a miss, 0-1 to Obie. He struck out both looking and swinging tonight, also grounded out to first. Now behind the count, 0-1 against Watson, who's come in and gone 2 clean innings. Shutout baseball, surrendered the 2 hits, but able to escape that jam in the 8th. Harwich looking for some padding heading into the 9th as that one's fouled off, and it's 0-2 to Obie. And it'll be interesting to see what they elect to do in the 9th inning, Wyatt. I would imagine Cole Rowland's got to be loosening. We can't really see the bullpen from our vantage point, but I doubt Sean Hard's going to go in the 9th inning. It would be a shock to see him out there, as here comes the 0-2 to Obie, and it's going to miss down low, 1-2.
Watson, a high strikeout pitcher, and leverage to do so here. Still looking for that first.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Devin Obie, the Duke Blue Devil. As he's set, here comes the offering from Watson. Swing and a miss, down he goes. Devin Obie, a 3 strikeout game, something we haven't seen in quite some time from him. And that will be a 1 away here in the 9th. First strikeout for Watson.
Might have been the best moving slider that we've seen all night long. Obie knew he had to protect and just chased that at that time, as it looks like Jim Lowler, the pitching coach, is going out to see how much longer Watson can give here.
Yeah, and maybe just some scouting information here as well. I'm not exactly sure what this conversation's about after a strikeout, especially 1 out into the 9th with the bases empty. But Orleans, you know, trying to be gamesman in some capacity, and you got to think this is the playoffs. You got to leave it all out here. Kelly Nicholson, a very quick trigger to go to the bullpen, but in a game that the Mariners have only struck for 5 hits, hasn't felt compelled to more than once to this point. Brian Arndt has grounded out to shortstop, lined out to first, and grounded out to short again. 0 for 3 on the day, looking for his first hit with the bases empty here in the 9th. Here's the pitch. And it's going to be grounded over to the third baseman in Stallman. He goes on to first, and it's in time. They're going to say keeping the foot on the bag was Halbeck, and there's 2 down.
He's had some really hard throws to make or plays at that first base bag here tonight, but he's been able to stay with it here despite having a quiet night at the plate.
Be Elijah Lambros now, who on the day is 1 for 3. Singled. He's also grounded out to first base and flied out to center. 2 down here in the 9th. He's the last hope for the Mariners if they want to add some runs to their 1-run lead. As he's behind in the count 0-1, a breaking ball snapped in around the knees and caught on and missed. Watson not using the pitch comp, shaking signs off from his catcher and Henry Hunter. Here comes the 0-1. And it's going to be cut on and miss. Another pitch just above the shoelaces, but got the batter fishing, and it's 0-2. Become a cool night here in Orleans. The home crowd trying to get up to their feet here, but they're going to need another out here before then. The pitch. Swing and a miss. Lambros went around, and 3 ugly-looking swings sent him packing here in the 9th. It's time, or it's now or never for the Orleans Firebirds as they trail 1-0 into the 9th. We go in Game 1 of Round 1 of the Cape Cod Baseball League postseason. It's going to take some heroics here at Eldridge Park. We'll be back to find out the winner in the bottom of the 9th inning. On the other side of the break, you're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. To the 9th inning we go. It'll be Eddie King Jr., Brandon Stallman, and Henry Hunter, the last 3 chances for the Firebirds as Sean Hard returns out there for the 9th. As Eddie King Jr. checks his swing and holds up to make the count 1-0 on a breaking ball bounced in the dirt. Well, it's been a great ball game up until this point. Firebirds just with 4 hits, the Mariners with 5, and Mariners the advantage on the scoreboard thanks to Ali Camarillo's solo home run. That's kept this game 1-0. Count is 2-0 now to Eddie King Jr., the guy who started the rally in the 9th inning for the Firebirds just last week in what was a 2-1 victory back on the 31st. 3 balls and no strikes now to King Jr. Trying to work his way on, and Wyatt, I mentioned to you in the break, a little surprising to see Sean Hard returning here for the 9th, especially with Cole Rowland up and throwing, and he delivers a 4-pitch walk to start things here in the 9th. Tying runner aboard, and the leading run coming in Brandon Stallman.
I mean, Hard only went 1 inning in his last outing, so he arguably has 6 days of rest if you consider the fact that he threw just about 20 pitches. You remember he got that 1-2-3 inning in the second the last time the Mariners were here at Eldridge Park, but with a good deal of right-handers in the lineup is R.J. Thomas back out from the Harwich dugout to go have a word with him. You have to figure that he has still some sort of advantage left, even though he's gone 3 full innings.
R.J. Thomas will make his way out, which often indicates that they're not going to be making a pitching change unless they're trying to buy Cole Rowland some more time, and then Englert will come out and make the call. But I would imagine they're going to stick with Hart a little longer, which is really interesting to see. I mean, going into his 4th inning of work and his team clinging to that 1-run lead, he just walked the first guy in King Jr. on 4 pitches, and now going to really have to be smart with where he leaves these. Going into the bottom third of the order is, I think, the only positive news for Sean Hart. Well, yeah, it'll be Brandon Stallman, who on the day is 0 for 3 with a ground out to second, a ground out to short, and a strikeout swinging. He's ready for the first pitch from Hart. And it's going to miss up for a ball, 1-0. 5 straight balls from Sean Hart to open up the bottom of the 9th inning. Mariners in some trouble. Corner infielders are in. Middle infielders double play depth. Here's the next pitch, and it's in there on the outside corner for a strike, 1-1. Becoming a little breezier now here at Eldridge Park. That flag wavering back and forth out in center field. So here comes the pitch to Stallman, and it misses inside, 2-1. Crowd here at Orleans starting to put together some claps and some noise, trying to fire their team up. They walked off the Mariners on July 31st, as I mentioned, and a chance to do it again here in the playoffs as that one misses inside. 7 of the 8 pitches Sean Hart has thrown here in the 9th inning have been for balls. Orleans has some life. Cole Rowland still in the Harwich pen, and he'll likely be called upon if Sean Hart loses this hitter. 3 balls, 1 strike. Here's the pitch to Stallman. And he's going to lift it out into left field, foul territory. Long run over for Cam Leary. And that one drops foul. So staying alive is Stallman. Now 3 balls and 2 strikes. And the biggest pitch of the inning coming up here. Some Let's Go Harwich chants breaking out on the left field side, but the majority Orleans fans rising as the payoff is fouled off. Really good swing, that pitch inside, and a jam shot able to keep the at-bat alive for Stallman.
This is it. Harwich has had a 2.7 ERA in the season series, winning 4 of 6. Hart is being called upon here for his tallest task of the year.
Payoff is going to be lifted out in the left field. Should be playable for Cam Leary, heading over to his left. And I believe it ended up landing foul again. So staying alive is going to be Stallman. Yeah, we really can't see down the left field line. I mean, got a blind spot with the Harwich dugout in the way. Can't even see the scoreboard for that matter. And so we just rely on the crowd's reaction to figure out if it was dropped or caught. And no reaction often means that it dropped. Sean Hart set for yet another 3-2 pitch. Here it is. And it's going to be spoiled. I mean, we've seen a few really good at-bats here in full counts from Orleans hitters. You have Brandon Stallman now. You had Matt Halbeck earlier. And, yeah, they just continue to bug the Mariners and not go away no matter what stage in the ball game it's been. Hart tucking that glove under his left shoulder. Now comes set at the waist, tapping the left foot. He's ready for the 3-2. And it's going to be punched in a shallow left field. Coming in is going to be Leary, and it's down for a base hit. Like we said, you can't see it, but it did land based on the reaction, and so now runners at first and second as Brandon Stallman wins the battle, and the Firebirds in more than business here, and we'll see if Steve Englert's going to make a move here.
Stallman was enthralled in that at-bat. He was fouling off pitches high and low in the zone. Hard trying to go with a fastball. He tried to go with slider as well as a pinch hitter set to come in here in Owen Carpelati, the sophomore out of Georgetown. And he was 1 for 4 in that 14-12 loss, Devin, a few nights ago. You know he has to be dialed in here and just clamoring for a hit.
Carapalati is the ultimate gamer. You know how bad he wants to win, a guy who plays with his heart on his sleeve, and if there's anyone Orleans wants in that box right now, it's him. Has promised to bring a championship to Orleans at whatever it takes or leave everything on the field trying. Shows bunt and fouls off the first pitch he sees to make the count 0-1. Carapalati will replace Henry Hunter rather easily behind the plate. No balls and a strike. Showing bunt once again all the way. Here comes the pitch. And it's going to be dropped down back to Sean Hard. Actually, we'll go to Ethan Anderson. There's no play. It's an infield bunt single for the Orleans Firebirds. And they just continue to capitalize on Harwich blunders. Ethan Anderson thought about going to third, and by the time he had his mind made up, there was no play anywhere. So the bases are all loaded with nobody away for the number 9 hitter and Colin Tuft. And if you're Steve Engler, you gotta make a move at this point. I mean, you've just loaded the bases with nobody away with your reliever going into his 4th inning, and you finally step out of the dugout and make the change. And yeah, Sean Hart didn't pitch bad here in the 9th inning, but you know, a walk, a bloop single, and an infield single will do it to you. Engler will make his way out and make the change. Orleans threatening to walk off here on the Mariners in inning number 9. We'll take a quick break, step aside, and meet the new reliever in a few moments. We'll be back on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Cole Rowland toes the rubber with inheriting bases loaded, no outs from Sean Hard as Steve Englert makes the move. He comes in with a record of 1-0, a 2.08 earned run average, 2 saves, 8 2/3 innings pitched, 14 strikeouts to 1 walk, and 5 hits as the first pitch to Tuft misses down low, and it's 1-0. Colin Tuft on the day is 1 for 2 with a single, also struck out swinging and has walked. Mariners in a really difficult position. Bases are all loaded up. Down at third is Eddie King Jr. with a walk. Stallman followed it up with a single, and then Owen Carapalati with a bunt single to load up the bases for the Firebirds. They trail the Mariners 1-0, but it's going to be really hard for them not to push across a run here in the 9th. They would really have to fall apart. The next pitch, is a breaking ball in there down the middle for a strike, and it's 1-1. Joe Oyama on deck, and that's just something that will make you roll your eyes if you're a Mariners fan. Definitely some trouble brewing here at Eldridge Park in Game 1. Roland tapping his left foot, now coming set in the stretch. The pitch, breaking ball, just misses. They're saying it came in high. It finished looking really well, but it's going to be ball 2 here. Joe Oyama on deck, followed by Justin Rubin. Here comes the 2-1 pitch to Tuft. And he lets it go, but they're going to say he swung, and it's 2-2. Orleans can't believe it. Yeah, generous swing from the home plate umpire, and Chris Ingstrand, he said he did that time, not even an appeal, and yeah, that was a big call. It would have been 3-1. Instead, they give Roland the strike, and it's 2-2. Slow clap emerging to a quick one here at Eldridge Park. Here comes the 2-2 from the Wake Forest Demon Deacon. Swing and a miss. He got him. Cole Roland one step closer to getting out of this crazy jam he's inherited, and there's one down.
Well, he's no stranger to these situations, Devin. With or without a lead, he only has a 1-run lead here, but dealt the slider inside and controlled it so commandingly where you couldn't even do anything about it to protect if you were Tuft.
A very warm ovation for Joe Oyama as he digs in. I mean, this is playoff baseball at its finest, why you really can't beat it. Bases are loaded, 1 away here. Corner infielders are in for the Mariners. Double play depth for the other 2, but Ali and also Rivera shifting in a touch. Definitely worried about that run scoring at home. Here comes the first pitch to Oyama. Breaking ball in there for a strike on the outside corner, 0-1. Oyama, a very quiet day, 0 for 4 thus far. He reached on an error in the first, flew out to left in the third, grounded to second in the fifth, and grounded to first in the seventh. Not looking for a ground out now, especially with a force at every base. Here comes the 0-1. Misses up high that time, and it's 1-1.
As much as you want to strike out the side here, Devin, for an individual challenge, Roland has to be able to employ his defense. It's just the quickest way out of this little sinking ship.
Harwich was able to get out of a jam similar to this a couple weeks ago. On the back of Colin Rothermel, we'll see if Roland can do the same. Here comes the 1-1 to Oyama. Breaking ball snapped in there again, a similar spot to that first pitch, and now Joe behind in the count, 1-2. Be Justin Rubin on deck for the Firebirds. This capacity stadium that had some life a few minutes ago is now gone quiet, biting their fingernails here in a stalemate from Orleans. Here comes the 1-2 to Joe Oyama. Roland, a deep breath. And it's going to be popped foul up towards the road, and so we stay at 1-2. What a ball game it's been to this point anyway, Wyatt. I mean, a game that looked like it was going to wrap up right in 2 hours has really stretched out over these past couple innings. Every pitch meaning so much more now in the postseason. In Harwich and Orleans, the last active game here. As Roland comes set, looking for a big punch out here. The 1-2 offering to Joe Oyama. Swing and a miss, he got him. Cole Roland, a massive strikeout here in the 9th inning to make his life 10 times easier. It's now 2 away with the bases loaded for Justin Rubin.
And he got his second save of the season on 3 outs. Just 1 strikeout needed in that 4-3 win against Falmouth. So he's had his rest, and it looks like he's had at least a week. But the amount he's been working at here, the pace he's been working out with particularly.
So it's just Justin Rubin that Cole Roland has to go through here in the 9th inning. Rubin struck out swinging in his last at bat in the 8th inning, was not happy with Chris Ingstrand behind the plate, and now a chance for vengeance as he watches a strike hit the low and outside corner. It's 0-1. Cole Roland just 1 out away from a Houdini-level escape from this 9th inning. Comes set once again on the mound. All loaded up, 1-0 Mariners here in the bottom of the 9th with 2 away. The pitch. Spiked in the dirt, a big stop by Brian Arndt. That might be his biggest stop all season. If that ball gets by, this game is tied. But he left it all out there to knock it down, and it's 1-1. What a block from Brian Arndt, though. A game-saving play. I mean, completely changes the situation if that ball gets by him. Cole Rowland's got to take a minute and adjust his pants. You could cut the tension with a knife here. It's been edge of your seat action here. 1 ball, 1 strike to Justin Rubin. Designated hitter set. And here comes the pitch from Cole Rowland. And it's going to be grounded softly over to Ali Camarillo. Going to be a tough play. He boots it. And this game is tied. It took a funny bounce in the infield, and Orleans able to knot it up on, I'm not sure how they'll rule it, but likely a single. And it's 1-1. Cole Rowland was that close. They gave the Firebirds a hit, I believe, on that, and maybe a generous one, but an infield one.
And Camarillo tried to make the play with ordinary effort. It was a really soft-moving ball and a few bounces, and he's been so adept at being able to play deep in the infield, but had a different challenge that time.
So Justin Rubin delivers, and that brings up Jack Penny now with the bases all reloaded up. The all-star shortstop a chance to walk it off in front of the home crowd here in Game 1. The pitch. First pitch is in there for a strike on the breaking ball, 0-1. Penny has been a big pest all day for the Mariners. A walk in the first, a single in the third, a fly out in the sixth, and another walk in the eighth. Rowland coming set. And here comes the 0-1 offering. Spiked in the dirt. That one just got away, but he's able to recover in time, and the count moves to 1-1. Format would be here in the postseason, I believe, no ghost runner. I believe that. There is a league curfew, though, at some point. To see how they facilitate it should we get there. 1 ball, 1 strike to Jack Penny. All loaded up in a tie game in the 9th. The pitch. Spiked in the dirt again. Brian Arnn has been really playing some fantastic defense in this playoff game. Game 1, I mean, a guy who's had trouble all season long with pass balls. It's been his kryptonite, and one of the reasons that the Mariners have gotten into some trouble. And here in the 9th inning, he stopped 3 pitches in the dirt, including the first one, which was absurd. A huge block on the upper shoulder. And doing everything he can to keep his team alive here. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cole Rowland comes set. And the pitch to Penny. Breaking ball just misses outside. And it's now 3-1. Sorry, misspoke. We must have missed a ball amidst all the excitement, and now Orleans could get a walk-off walk should it come to it. The players trying to get the fans into it here at Eldridge Park. It's the loudest we've heard it all night. Here comes the 3-1 from Cole Rowland. And it is going to be in there for a strike. And it's only fitting that this game is going to come down to the final pitch. I mean, oh, high pressure situation here. Firebirds tied it up with an infield single on the last batter, and Rubin. A chance to win it with a walk or a hit here. Payoff pitch coming. The runners will be on the move. And it's going to be lined into right field, down for a hit. The Firebirds win. They walk this one off in the 9th inning. Jack Penny, the hero tonight, and the Firebirds stun the Mariners here at home in what was a really gut-wrenching defeat. Harwich, a tough pill to swallow as Orleans has a party out in the middle of the infield. A tough one. Wyatt and I will get into it in a few moments on the Harwich Mariners postgame show, but for now, the final score one more time. 2-1. The Firebirds take it in walk-off fashion from Eldridge Park. We'll be back in a flash on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. A gut-wrenching defeat for the Harwich Mariners here on the road as they are stunned by the Orleans Firebirds 2-1. The Firebirds held scoreless all game long. They only had 4 hits throughout the entire ballgame, but they tally 4 hits in the 9th inning and jump away with a 2-1 victory here in Game 1, and what was a thrilling one, an entertaining one, which is what you want out of playoff baseball. But if you're the Harwich Mariners, you know, it stinks. You fought hard, and, I mean, Sean Hard loaded the bases here in the 9th with no outs. You get back-to-back strikeouts from Cole Rowland, and you think, you know what, we might be able to escape with this. And then an infield single to tie it and a walk-off single to win it. I mean, tough pill to swallow, Wyatt, but, you know, you can't lose sleep over it. You got another big game tomorrow at home, and, you know, just what went wrong here tonight?
Well, irrespective of particular timing on pitching changes, I mean, the Mariners only went to 2 relievers. They thought Sean Hard could have picked up the win after Blake Purnell pitched 5 shutout innings and arguably his best start in the season, a season-high 5 innings. And you also look at how Harwich just didn't stretch across enough runs. A team pretty average in the Cape Cod Baseball League and 9th when you consider runs per game, 4.7 on average. And the Mariners, with just 1 run here tonight, they got a solo home run from Ali Camarillo. They got a solo home run from Ali Camarillo last time. And it's the same story. The Mariners just weren't able to get efficient outs when it mattered in the 9th inning, let alone the run support behind it, Devin.
And, I mean, yeah, in the postseason, you got this lights-out closer warming in your bullpen. It makes me kind of wonder a little bit. If you're Steve Engler, why do you not go to Cole Rowland to start the inning? And then after a walk, you think, okay, maybe now, and then another hit, and then an infield single, and just like that, the bases are loaded. And, you know, you can't predict the future. Sean Hard's been a reliable guy all year, an all-star alternate. But when you got a guy like Cole Rowland who has a team high in appearances and he's been lights out in 90% of his outings, you know, you kind of wish you went to him in hindsight. Picked up back-to-back strikeouts and then unfortunately gave up back-to-back hits, which led to the Firebirds' victory. But, yeah, a tough one. And if you're Ali Camarillo, a great game, had that solo blast to center, but then unfortunately with the standard he holds himself to, why you know he's going to be kicking himself for booting that infield single ball as they ruled it, in which he might have had a play for out number 3 to end the game.
You also have to give credit to Matthew Watson as well, because he actually retired the side in order in his first inning. And what you appreciate the most out of Watson, his ability to get quick outs. I stand corrected, 4 outs he needed in the first 5 he faced, but still just got off to a great start after relieving a nice start out of Carter. So for him just to be able to come in and settle down after giving up a leadoff single was pretty monumental. He had 5 straight retired going into the 2-out mark of the 8th. He gave up a single to center field and then an infield single from Kevin Keister for his first on the day. But for him to retire the final 4 was critical here for the Firebirds to close it off. I mean, loading the bases in the 9th almost brings you a surefire victory when the Firebirds find hitting on their home field in the playoffs. But for Watson to be able to come in and retire the first 5 or the first 6 he faced for that matter, and then also for the ability to get 3 in a row in the 9th is just that game-stopping momentum that you need, and Kelly Nicholson has to give him a lot of credit aside from Justin Rubin just coming through in the clutch opportunity.
Yeah, and you got to give a tip of your hat to the Firebirds. I mean, the Mariners stomped you in the first 4 games of this season series, and then the last 2 went to the Firebirds, and they also took the most important one, a playoff game here in Game 1. I mean, it's just tough, but, you know, you got to look forward to tomorrow. I mean, you don't want it to be your last game of the season, so try and find a way to pull out a victory. Orleans is a tough customer. They fight until the very end. They're well coached and not afraid to play some small ball, and that's what ultimately worked out for them tonight. So, Wyatt, before we wrap this thing up, what are your keys for Harwich tomorrow heading into Game 2 on their home field? How do they reset and find a way to even the series?
I mean, Harwich just needs to find more timely hitting. Of course, getting the leadoff home run from Ali Camarillo gives you confidence, but 1-run lead in the playoff surely isn't enough. It wasn't enough when the Mariners lost 2-1 back here at Orleans in Monday night. And so with both teams coming into tonight at 8-6 in 1-run games, the Mariners know that they have to get more run production. And this is an Orleans team as well. It didn't average a lot of runs per game, just under 5.3. So that's one key right there. The next key, you just have to be able to get more critical outs with your pitching as well, prevent those 2-out sparks. Of course, Cole Rowland looked to have the side down on strikeouts and keep the Mariners in the lead for good here, but then 2 strikeouts not enough. Mentioned earlier, have to be able to put the defense in play. Camarillo, just the small details. I mean, he had a great home run to give the Mariners that lead as he did last time, but just couldn't close out that inning. And for the Mariners to lack that proved to be the groundbreaking need that the Firebirds had. And they had a desire and they expected to get runners on, and Camarillo helped them a little bit, the infield single, and then lastly, what you also consider is just having to be smarter on the base pass as well. Harwich wasn't caught stealing, but Orleans can certainly detect that. And so for Harwich to give away outs on the base pass in Game 2 will be something that could be a commodity for Orleans to be able to move away with a win.
We are certainly looking forward to that one. I believe set for a 5:30 start because it's a Saturday. So 5:30 at White House Field tomorrow. We'll see what the Mariners can do to try and keep their season alive here in what's been a roller coaster of a 2023 summer in the Cape Cod Baseball League. But a game that took 2 hours and 31 minutes on a beautiful night here in Eldridge Park. Ultimately, the Firebirds scampering away with this one with a walk-off 2-1 victory, fueled by 8 hits. They did tally 1 error. The Mariners 1 run on 5 hits with 2 errors. The win goes to Matthew Watson. The loss goes to Sean Hard as the Mariners take a 1-0 series deficit back home in front of the home crowd. We'll see if they're up to the task. It should be a good one, Wyatt. Looking forward to it. But until then, we'll take a quick break and thank you on behalf of our entire media team. I guess I'm ready for another break for extras. But on behalf of our entire media team, our producer, Sean Sears, my partner, Wyatt Kopelman, and myself, David Dobek, thank you so much for joining us on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. And always remember to live the dream. We'll see you tomorrow.